Chapter 46 Updated Space. Xiaoxia was carrying a bow made out of bamboo. Xian cast her superpower and her sight spread all over as much as 2 kms. It was much bigger than that in the past. Xian felt absolutely delighted inside her heart. It was a smooth day of hunting, since Xian chose the right direction and led the way. Soon, Xiaoxia noticed the prey hidden in the flourishing grass. The moment he aimed at the prey, he showed a cold look that startled Xian. He was still young and had not yet grown up. But he would turn even more lethal as he grew older. Xian thought of how he learned the hunting skills from a deceased hunter. She could not help but guess that the hunter must have been more than just ordinary. Otherwise, he would not have cultivated a disciple like this. Xiaoxia was very fast in getting the prey. Soon he got 5 wild roosters and 3 rabbits. Actually, Xian had noticed wild boars and goats as well, but wild boars were too dangerous and wild goats were too fast. Neither were good options for hunting. Therefore, she led them away. When it was time for lunch, they already had 13 wild roosters and 6 wild rabbits. Xiaoxia was extremely happy. "I am so lucky to be hunting with you. I had never been so lucky." Everyone was very pleased to get so many wild animals for food. With her superpower, Xian soon found a wild grassland close to the spring. She and Xiao Tao killed a really big wild rabbit, and Xiao Yunduan as well as Xiaoxia fetched some wood. In this way, they roasted the wild rabbit for lunch. Xiaoxia got some wild berries and wrapped them up with large leaves for Xian to eat. Boxen OVL. There were not many wild fruits except for the berries in the mountains during spring. They were growing wildly and the red fruits were as large as a finger, growing all over the trees. They stood out in the bushes, beautiful and tasty. After lunch, Xiaoxia suggested, "Let's get some mushrooms before going back. It is getting late now." It was more dangerous after lunchtime, and he would not go around randomly when his brother and sister-in-law as well as Tao were with him. Also, they already got plenty of things. They nodded in agreement. Xian was very satisfied by what she had gained from this trip. There were many wild-growing fruit trees, and when she built the fruit yard, she was going to ask him to bring her here and take some home. Then she was going to transplant those fruits with better twigs. Some could be planted directly, such as wild lemons, mulberries, bayberries, etc. She even found a patch of wild-growing watermelons, which were just budding, and which could be transplanted back to their place later. She did not have to worry about killing the bud. They were just picking some mushrooms, when Xian had an idea. She told the rest of the team and headed towards a direction alone. She found 2 Ganodermas. The 2 Ganodermas were growing together, different in height but large in size, almost as big as one basin. The black surface was sparkling with purple light, and the stem looked straight and sturdy. Delighted, Xian bent down. But she was startled the moment she touched them. Suddenly, she had nothing in her hands, but 2 Ganodermas went straight in her space and started to grow. These 2 Ganodermas seemed to get rooted in her space as if they had sensed something. In an instant, Xian could clearly feel that the originally desolate, lifeless space had a little more life, and a small clear spring appeared at a speed visible to the naked eye, next to the 2 Ganodermas. The spring was spurting and soon a pool was formed. Chapter 47 Superpower expanded. That trash space was finally going into function mode. The development pleased Xian greatly. In the meanwhile, she found her superpower becoming stronger as well. She was not only able to explore a wider range across plants but also had no difficulty in extracting oil as well as accelerating the growth of plants. What was more, she could use her superpower at her will. Previously, it was impossible for her to achieve fine control, but at this moment it seemed to be possible. For example, if she wanted a leaf to grow by one branch, then this leaf and one branch would do as she ordered, and if she wanted a fruit to grow quickly and ripen, then this one fruit would ripen quickly without affecting others. It was a discovery that surprised Xian. Pleased, Xian decided to take a walk in the mountains when she had nothing else to do. She decided to find better things to feed her space, and when she became rich, she was going to buy excellent ginseng so that she could get unexpected surprises. Xian returned quickly, so the other two people did not witness anything. Only Xiao could tell that Xian seemed to be quite happy. He threw a confused look at her but noticed nothing different. He even assumed that it was because he had felt wrongly. They had got abundant mushrooms and were about to return, when Xiao Zioqi's eyes brightened. It is a barking deer. Without informing others, he ran up with his bow. Before Xian and Xiao realized what was happening, Xiaoqi was already cheering. I got it, I got one barking deer. Wow, brother, you are excellent. Xiao Tao dashed forward in cheers. Xian smiled. I agree. The arrow ran through the barking deer, which fell onto the ground. It looked strong and chubby, weighing approximately 2.5 kilograms to 4 kilograms. After they cheered for a while, Xiaoqi could not help but say, Fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law, let's bring this barking deer to old Master Yuan's family and ask for a price. He kept asking me if we got anything other than wild roosters and rabbits. I bet that he will buy it. Then we can share the earnings. They believed that such a big barking deer would definitely be shared with the other sections of the family, when brought back. Boxen OVL. COM however, he had not yet hunted one barking deer for long and he would like to have a taste too. Xian smiled. That works. But you should share the money with Tao, and we don't need it, right? Xiao nodded. Yes. But, we have wild roosters and rabbits too, right? They are good to eat as well. You should keep the money. They insisted upon not taking the money, and Xiaoqi showed an embarrassed smile and dropped the request. Xian and Tao were waiting for Xiao and Xiaoqi in a forest outside the village, when they went to sell the barking deer to the Yuan village. They even had 2 wild roosters and 2 wild rabbits with them. The barking deer was sold at only 21, yet Xian bought the meat at 15 when half a kilo the other day. Barking deer was fresh and rare, and it should not have been sold at such a low price. But there were no rules in the village. Old Master Yuan must have bargained hard. But Xiaoqi had no choice but to sell that to him, otherwise the other sections of the family would want to share it when brought back. But Xiaoqi was already very glad to have made a small fortune, since the cost wasn't that high. Unfortunately, old Master Yuan did not buy wild roosters or rabbits, which would go bad soon when it got too warm. A barking deer was already enough for him. Chapter 48. Back home, Miss Fang took 41 out of the 81, and the rest would be shared between Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao accepted the share too. She said happily, brother, I can keep your share for you, and you can ask me for money when you need it. They all laughed. Xiao Tao pursed her lips and said, we have had such a big harvest today. Dad is definitely going to ask us to share it with second uncle and third uncle again. Sigh. Eldest uncle was nice and everything except for the fact that he kept thinking that he should take care of the other sections of the family. After so many years, the whole family already gave up trying to persuade him. The reason that half of the money earned by each person in the first section of the family should belong to the individual's personal property and only needed to be handed over to the whole family, was because it was a rule set by Miss Fang decisively. In this way, some money could still be kept in the family. Eldest uncle, who was a father, would naturally not ignore his children, and Miss Fang, who was a mother, was considerate of her children, so eldest uncle would not object to this practice. But second uncle and third uncle once said that it was a rule that would spoil the children, and that the money would ruin children's future. But Miss Fang insisted upon that and the discussion was dropped. But when Xian came to the family, she had attacked the second and third sections so that she became such an inspiration for Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao. Actually, Xian was a trigger to the already existent grudge. They had not been pleased by the actions of the second and the third section's behaviors for a long time. Xian smiled. That works. You don't have to share everything that you have earned. Xiao Tao could not help but say. Fifth sister-in-law, they would come to flip through our stuff. Xiaoxian's face sank. We won't allow this to happen again. Xiao Zioqi's eyes brightened as he nodded. Fifth sister-in-law is right. They told the others that they only got 2 wild roosters and 1 rabbit. Then, they hid everything else when they returned home. Boxan OVL. There was almost no secret in the family that could be kept from others. Xiao Xiaoqi had a hobby of hunting wild animals, which was known to everyone. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma had always benefited from this hobby of his, so they kept prying about where Xiao Xiaoqi went, every day. As long as Xiao Xiaoqi went into the mountain, they would surely come to visit their place. Today was no exception. 2 wild roosters and 1 rabbit. They were definitely going to take them. Qi, you have hunted a lot today. Look at the fat wild rooster. The wild rabbit looks good too. Qiao Xian's lips pursed. She was not going to allow those greedy people to get even one thing out of the family. But that was not how the first section of the Xiao family worked. They had to take it slow. Qiao Xian grabbed the largest wild rooster and said, Qi, you have done a great job today, we will keep this wild rooster. Second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law, you can share the wild rooster and the rabbit. Xiao Yunduan smiled. This wife of his was so evil. Xiao Xiaoqi was the one who hunted the animal, so it was totally reasonable that they kept the largest wild rooster. After all, they were giving away the wild rabbit that was larger and had much more meat, weren't they? Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were startled. They could not help but reach out for the rabbit at the same time. What are you doing? This is mine. Chapter 49 Argument. Second sister-in-law. Sixth son needs to have some supplementary food. Hence, the rabbit should be mine. Sixth son is at the school, not at home. You can't bring him out for everything. How dare you try to snatch the rabbit from me? So what? I can deliver it to him tomorrow. It is important that the sixth son studies well. You should leave the rabbit for me. Miss Fang showed a mocking smile and looked at her daughter-in-law with a satisfied smirk on her face. She left from there with her grandchildren. Xiao Yunduan went to study whilst Xiao Xian and Qi left as well. The 2 women should be left alone to sort the argument between themselves. Later, Tao Tao came to gossip with Xiao Xian, telling her that third aunt-in-law won and took the rabbit away whilst second aunt-in-law wanted to exchange the remaining with the rooster, but got turned down by their mother. Xiao Xian laughed. She had thought that it would be Ms. Niu who would win, but it turned out that Ms. Ma tasted victory instead. They had many wild roosters and rabbits left for dinner, and the remaining ones were hidden in the yard. They were kept in the leaves and maintained in the dungeon, so that the meat could be kept for many days. Wild roosters were never as chubby as home-kept roosters, but they were already quite big. Qiao Xian cooked dinner and made braised chicken soup with mushrooms, which tasted really fresh and delicious. The other one was stirred and fried over a lot of oil, whilst the green garlic sprouts were cut into sections. The wild celery pulled from the mountains was chopped into pieces, and some dried chili peppers were added. Soy sauce, salt, and ginger pieces were put in as well. The taste was strong and fragrant. People just could not stop eating. Then, she cut fresh bamboo shoots into thin slices, and made a light, fresh bamboo shoot soup. She even stirred and fried a vinegary and slightly spicy cabbage. Boxan OVL. The smell went over the room and made people drool. Ms. Su helped her, and was stumped seeing how the seasoning was made. Anyway, it was her dowry that paid for it all, and she could do whatever she wanted. Those were not from the family share, hence she did not care. But Ms. Su could not stop eating at dinner. Xiao Sanlang was the happiest. He got so delighted that he spoke highly of his sister-in-law, which made Xiao Yunduan remind him that he should eat more and speak less. Xiao Sanlang nodded. Yes, I need to hurry up before you eat it all. Xiao Yunduan. When eldest uncle heard that the second and the third sections of the family were given some rabbit and rooster, he got very gratified inside his heart as well. They were a family and they should get on well with each other. It was a great, happy dinner. The following day, Xian started to work. She had already gotten the contract from Land Officer Ding the day before, and after dinner, she narrated what she was planning to do. She was using her own dowry and Miss Fang, as well as Xiao Yunduan supported her. Hence, eldest uncle said nothing even though he did not quite agree. Well, Xian was not using the family money. She needed some labor if she wanted to open a land. So after breakfast, eldest uncle went to the family land whilst Xiao Dalang, Xiao Sanlang, and Ms. Su as well as Xiao Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao went to help Xiao. Xiao Yunduan was studying in the room. Xiao felt that she still needed more people, so she asked Xiao Dalang to get 3 men who were reliable to come and help. Just tell them to tell others that they are simply helping us. We will offer lunch in 21 for each of them. Don't let them spill the truth. Chapter 50. Ashamed, since you all are working here, you will get 21 too. Brothers, you work so hard, I will pay you 10 more, but please work carefully. Don't tell others. Weeds, tree roots, larger stones, and other scattered rubbish on this piece of land needed to be cleaned up. Once a fence was built, trees could be planted and mushrooms could be grown. Everyone was startled when they heard what Xiao said. Miss Su smiled. 5th sister-in-law, this seems very nice, but do I get paid too? Ms. Su. Xiao Dalang glanced at his wife and said, 5th sister-in-law, we are one family and we don't need to pay each other. Yes. Xiao Sanlang smiled as well. You have bought us so much food and it is enough for us to get fully fed every time. You can cook for us more instead. Everyone laughed and agreed. Miss Su felt ashamed. Was she being very greedy? They were humiliating her. Xiao chuckled and said, those are 2 different things. This is my private work which will last for a long time. I can't let you work for free. We should count the bill even if we are a family. Me and my husband don't do housework. It is you all who have taken over it, right? Xiao Sanlang was very open-minded, and he could either be paid or remain unpaid. Xiao Dalang was very honest and bad at talking, so he nodded and insisted that he should just take 21, no more. Xiao thought for a while and nodded with a smile. Seeing that they got 10 when less, Miss Su felt her heart ache. She threw a dark look at Xiao Dalang, thinking that he was so dull. But she did not dare to say anything more. Xiao explained the whole thing to them and asked them not to reveal the truth to anyone else. Boxen OVL. She was worried that the 2nd and the 3rd sections of the family would get someone here to work and get money from them and add nuisance. Xiao Dalang realized what was going on. He nodded and said that he was not going to tell anyone else about it. So did everyone else present. That was indeed how those people would behave. Xiao returned when she was done with her work. She helped Miss Fang to look after the children whilst Miss Fang was busy with some housework. She was not very familiar with the house, and Miss Fang was very good at doing the work, so Miss Fang did not let Xiao do the housework either, which made her life leisurely. Xiao told Miss Fang about the payment. Miss Fang first told her not to do that, but after hearing her point of view, she nodded and said, "You are right. This is good, they won't complain in the future. But don't let your father learn about it." That was exactly what Xiao was waiting for. She nodded and smiled. "Mom, we are all a good family and Noon will complain. I just think that we can't let them work for free. After all, it is my private work." Miss Fang smiled. "You are such a nice girl who takes everything into consideration." Chapter 51. Xiao's laughter. Xiao was always very fast while giving out the payment. When everyone held the heavy coins in their hands, they became happier and more motivated. Ms. Niu came to have a look at the land with her grandson in her arms. She sneered at Xiao for being so stupid. She had just bought a wasted piece of land and was treating it as a piece of treasure. That was simply a waste of money. Moreover, the whole family was helping her with the land. Xiao asked, "I wonder whether my cousins are free tomorrow?" What about coming over to give us a hand? We are a family, aren't we? We should help each other. Ms. Niu glared at her without hesitation. They are not free. Don't ask them to come here. Then she ran away with grandson in her arms. She was worried that Xiao Xian would catch her if she was even 1 second slower. Xiao Xian was laughing behind her back. 1 wild rooster and 1 rabbit were served at the dinner. The rabbit was cut into slices and fried in hot oil. Then it was woked with peeled garlics and deep-fried dried chilies as well as ginger pieces. Finally, a dish of fried rabbit was made. The wild rooster was turned into a very light dish. A bowl was used to hold the sliced chicken, which was later steamed in water. The soup turned out to be white, tender and sweet. 2 dishes of vegetables were cooked, which made the dinner table full of meat and vegetables. They were all tired from labor work today, but the food made them brighten up. They all spoke highly of the delicacies. From time to time, they had eaten wild roosters and rabbits, but they were never cooked in this way. They all spoke highly of Xiao Xian's cooking skills. She was considered smart as well. Eldest uncle said nothing. He thought that his brothers had got some share too. Boxen OVL. COM during the daytime, Miss Fang had already dealt with the wild rooster and rabbits well. She put them into a jar so it would not go bad even after half a month. Xiao Xian was thinking that maybe Xiaoqi could bring some to the town and sell it. But they could only start with acquaintances. Otherwise some hooligans might lay eyes on them. Normally, restaurants had a set menu, and their own resources. Otherwise they would not accept some random wild roosters and rabbits. But they could work on some rich families who had good air. When they got the praise, they could try selling those animals to them. The group spent 1.5 a day cleaning up the 13 mu land, and they hired 2 masons to build up the 4-side wall, which took another 1.5 a day. Xiao Xian did not want anyone to sneak a peek at her land, so she had a concrete wall built with bricks, not with fences. The wall was as tall as 3 meters. Then she opened 2 doors from her own yard, and chained it up. Wasteland was done. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Dalong and the team to clean up 60 mu of land at the entrance of the village. What they needed to do was to clear up the bushes and weeds. Xiao Dalong and the team accepted the mission directly. Ms. Su was glad too. She was counting how much money she would get after 4 days, which would be enough for the team to finish their work. In this way, she and her husband were going to get 81, half of which would be shared with the rest of the family and half would be kept for themselves. Xiao Xian felt really satisfied when she saw the achievement. But a row broke out in the village. Look at Xiao Dakan's family. The daughter-in-law is making a wall around that wasteland. That is such a waste of money. The amount spent should be enough to build a brick house. Splurging housewife, what a splurging housewife. Chapter 52 Splurging housewife, this is ridiculous. No one cares about that move. It is such a waste of land and money. Miss Fang should be a fierce mother-in-law. She is being so stupid now. Well, that daughter-in-law is the child of a county officer. She must be dominating the whole family. Even if Miss Fang is fierce, so what? It is such a misfortune that they have a daughter-in-law like this. They are going to have a very difficult time in life. Many people got jealous of Xiao Yunduan, who married the daughter of the county magistrate. They were all waiting to see the ridiculous scenes arising from the Xiao family. They were all ears for such gossip. Almost everyone around nodded and agreed. They started to mock the Xiao family, as if there was definitely going to be a lot of unpleasantness since Xiao Yunduan married Xiao Xian. Eventually, they all came to one conclusion. Just wait and see. It is never going to stop. But what is the daughter-in-law doing inside the wall? Someone asked. They were all startled. Yes, what is she doing? It is so stupid to have built a wall around a wasteland. They dropped the topic when they failed to come to a conclusion. But whenever they had a get-together, they would always gossip about the splurging housewife of the Xiao family, and even made up a lot of jokes, just to wait and see how the family was going to deal with the trouble. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were also very curious. They went to the door and asked what was going on. Qiao Xian never tried to conceal the truth. So she said straightforwardly, planting fruit trees and mushrooms. But she skipped telling them about the medical herbs. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, who did not believe what Qiao Xian was saying, started to mumble among themselves when they saw the serious look on Qiao Xian's face. Boxan OVL. But that wasteland is full of stones, hard and thin, not a good place for fruit trees at all. You are just wasting your money. True, you might as well give me the bricks to build a pigsty. Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian let them talk without saying anything in return. When they learned the answer, they started to spread the story and it became the topic of gossip among the villagers. The following day, Qiao Xian started to buy fruit trees in the village. She picked the really thick ones, cut them and transplanted them directly. She explained to those confused people that she would do something about it later. She needed bowl-thick or arm-thick ones, which could be transplanted directly. In the village, some fruit trees were planted in front of and behind the houses, in the corner of the vegetable garden, and on the edge of the field. Although most of the fruit trees that were planted in this manner were actually unable to bear fruit at all. In spring, the flowers were full of trees and lively, and the small fruits were densely packed, but basically they could not be kept. When rain came constantly, they tended to fall little by little. In autumn, it was very difficult for them to have any good fruits to eat. Only bayberry, persimmon, loquat, and jujube would have been harvested. But the harvest only happened in some years, not every year. Usually, the main function of these fruit trees was the natural melon shelf. Everyone liked to dig a hole under the tree to plant some melons, and then let the melon vines climb up, such as pumpkin, winter melon, gourd melon, loofah, and so on. Therefore, the so-called fruit trees were worth no money in other people's eyes. When Qiao Xian decided to buy the fruit trees, everyone was laughing at her. What are you buying these for? For firewood? She knows nothing. She has never lived in the countryside before. She thinks that only by buying the fruit trees would get fruits. Haha. Chapter 53 Rich, it is not the right season. The plants would not survive. She is just being ridiculous. But she is rich and can do whatever she wants. Just leave her alone. They were all in a happy chat as if they were all experts in farming whilst Qiao Xian was just a spendthrift girl who knew nothing. Moreover, when Qiao Xian spent 50 when buying a very large pear tree, everyone got really excited. They all came to the Xiao family and offered to sell their fruit trees. Qiao Xian told others with a smile that she would only buy the fruit trees that she liked. Hence, the neighbors did not have to be so active in offering her the trees. After all, she only needed 2 or 3 fruit trees of each kind. The villagers did not believe her. They kept pushing the fruit trees towards her and asked her to buy some more. I will sell them to you at a lower price. Yes, you can get more trees for your wide land. Qiao Xian kept the smile on her face when she expressed what she was thinking. She had no energy to chit-chat with these people endlessly. Miss Fang could not stand such pushy behavior anymore and drove everyone away. But she was also a little worried and reminded Qiao Xian. Miss Qiao, it is getting very hot and the fruit trees are full of leaves. I don't think that the trees would be alive for too long. Qiao Xian smiled. Don't worry, Mom. I know what to do. Boxan OVL. Ms. Fang smiled. Okay, then I will not say anything more. With strange people like the second and the third sections of the family existing, Miss Fang thought that everyone else was really good. Although Miss Su had some plans of her own, she was still better than those from the other sections of the family. She was always very tolerant of her own family. Qiao Xian was using her own money to make the trouble, and she as the mother-in-law would not make any decisions for her. The following day, Xiao Yunduan intended to go to the school, so he left early in the morning. Qiao Xian asked Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to clear up the weeds in the village, so that they could help to dig holes to plant fruit trees. Xian wanted these trees because she craved fruit. Also, the garden was good to get shelter during summer, especially for escaping from the heat, playing on the swings and doing grilled food, so fruit trees were not going to take up all the space. The land was hard, but Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, who were used to farm work, did not think that it was a difficult job. They just needed to spend some more time on it. Xian had intended to offer some help, but she was really bad at it. She could not even pick the shovel. She panted after a while, making Xiao Taotao and her brother chuckle. They all asked her not to try it anymore. Xian said to them embarrassedly, "I will make good food for you tonight." Then she gave up. Xian planned the orchard on the far side, occupying an area of about 4 mu. She only planned to plant about 30 to 40 trees on 1 mu, about 100 trees on 3 mu, and another acre of grapes and watermelons, which should be enough to eat. They could even make dried fruits and fruit jams. She had her superpower and could ensure that the trees would grow and thrive. She even intended to give it a try in the future when the brokers would try to get some longan, lychee, mango, jackfruit and cantaloupe from the frontier from other places or even the south. With the help of her superpower, those trees would definitely survive. Chapter 54 A Lucky Star. Xian suddenly remembered the flourishing space, seeing the holes being dug. She started to concentrate. She could not help but get startled. Those 2 Ganoderma lucidum had grown bigger and were full of spiritual energy, exuding a faint medicinal fragrance, which was really refreshing. There was a spring pool of about 2 square meters on the side. The pool had no exit or entrance. The spring water looked very clear, but the bottom could not be seen. She tried to move some grass from outside but failed. It seemed that this space was very critical. It did not take in anything or everything. It only accepted Ganoderma lucidum, for example. She tried to pull out the spring, yet nothing happened, which made her feel disappointed. But the next second, Xiaoqi cried out in surprise. "Water, there is water here." "What? Really?" Xian and Xiao Taotao were both surprised. They rushed out and checked. Xiaoqi was so happy. Her eyes were sparkling as she was smiling. They kept digging and the spring spurted out. "Ah! It is really spring water." "Oh, that is great!" Xiao Taotao screamed as she spinned around on the spot. Xian smiled too. "Yes, this is fantastic. It must be the spring from her space." Good, she did not have to worry a thing about watering. Boxen OVL. COM, and it was a great relief for them. There were only 3 springs in the village. They had to carry water to their home when they needed some at home. But with this spring here, all they needed to do was to get the water out to the yard, which made it handy for them to use water. Xiao Taotao rushed out happily. "I am going to tell my mom." Soon Ms. Fang rushed over too. She got so happy seeing the water. She struck her thigh and smiled. "Ms. Qiao, you are such a lucky star. You are a lucky star." They needed to use water every day, and it was so annoying and painstaking to carry water. This spring just saved all the trouble. Who would have expected that spring appeared on this deserted land? Seeing the water rushing out, Ms. Fang got both happy and nervous, seeing that there was no sign that there was any end to the water. "Keep this a secret, let's just see what is happening." This wasteland did not seem to be a place that should have a spring, and they wondered if the water would keep on running forward, or was it gushing out just for a moment? What if it was simply a momentary thing? When Xiao Yunduan returned in the evening, Ms. Fang revealed the story to the family. The whole family was shocked. They all headed towards the yard and tried to check it out. The spring was still leaking. The tree hole wasn't so large, and the water had already wetted the land. "That is so good, it is so good." Eldest uncle just got so excited that he could not talk. "It would be so convenient for us to use water." "Haha." Xiao Sanlang said happily. Miss Su was laughing with tears in her eyes. It was always her husband who had to carry the water, and now the labor was saved. Xiao Yunduan raised his eyebrows slightly. It was such an unbelievable thing. This land was not like a place where water could gush out. How did she find the spring just after some digging? The land should have been flourishing if there had been water underneath. Chapter 55 Praise, but it was a fact. Seeing was believing, wasn't it? Xiao Yunduan just could not believe what he had seen, nor could he find the logic of what he witnessed. It was indeed a magical world. He could not help but glance at Xiaoxian. His wife was indeed blessed. No wonder his mother kept calling her the lucky star. Xiaoxian caught Xiao Yunduan's sight and smiled at him. She blinked and chuckled. Am I very lucky? She sounded so proud that Xiao Yunduan could not help but laugh. She was like an arrogant fox who had raised her tail. He nodded. Yes, you are very lucky. In this case, I have achieved so much at home. Try speaking highly of me. Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan just could not utter a word. How should he praise her? Xiaoxian chuckled, seeing his reaction. Seeing the man got so bashful, she added another sentence. You don't have to compliment me or praise me, but you have to promise to defend me and stand by my side. Xiao Yunduan moved his lips. He could speak highly of people, except that he just did not understand what she was talking about. He nodded and took a deep breath. I will definitely defend you. He was going to stand by her, since she was paying so much attention to the Xiao family. Satisfied, Xiaoxian raised her lips. You have to remember what you said today. She was going to remind him of this whenever she had the chance, so he could bear what she had said in his mind firmly. She gradually understood that a woman was born in a disadvantageous place in this era, and she needed someone to lean on. Boxan OVL. COM for example, but for Xiao Yunduan and mother-in-law, the second and the third sections of the family would have torn her apart, and allowed no chance for her to talk sense. Don't worry. Early next morning, everyone from the family wanted to check if the water spring was still active. Xiaoxian was no exception. It was the first time for her to do this thing and she wondered if the spring would remain thriving any longer. Seeing that the spring was still active and water was coming out of the whole family cheered as if the new year was around the corner. This is a real spring. Oh God, my hanging heart can settle down now. Miss Fang said as she patted her chest, smiling. Eldest uncle was excited too. I will get someone to get the water to our yard, so we don't have to worry about water anymore. Miss Fang nodded with a smile. Let's do it now. She cooked porridge and steamed buns just to celebrate the discovery of the spring. The stuffing of the steamed buns consisted of 2 kinds of leek vermicelli eggs, diced sauerkraut bamboo shoots and diced mushrooms. The stuffing made by Xiaoxian was full of flavor, thin on the wrapping and big in size. When they were out of the steamers, they smelled great. Everyone was speaking highly of the soft, fresh taste of the warm steamed buns. After breakfast, Xiao Dalong got so excited that he was urged by Ms. Su to start the work for their sister-in-law. So, Xiao Sanlang followed them up to the field. After all, they could make 21 a day. Eldest uncle was in charge of the spring, so his sons did not stay at home but went to work instead. Eldest uncle soon asked the well expert from the neighboring village. Xiaoxian had her own idea and expressed her suggestions. Chapter 56 Ms. Fang's welcoming. The following were her suggestions. For the pool and the yard, the best bricks should be built around it so only one hole of the spring was shown. A patch of brick land was to be built around, which would make it easier for the water to be used for the garden. After that, an underground ditch would be dug to lead the spring water from the garden to the courtyard. The underground ditch would also be covered with blue bricks and built on both sides. In this way, the land would be flat and the surface will not be ruined. Nor would the spring be dirted. Then, they would dig a pool in the backyard to connect the water for easy takeout. But the exit would remain hidden, so that it could leak straight to the sewers and ditches in the village. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Dad, Mom, it sounds very convenient. Miss Fang agreed too, seeing that her son had said yes. She smiled. I think it is a good idea. What about doing it like this? Eldest uncle was worried about spending money. So he hesitated. The bricks are not cheap. We have to spend money. The well expert's mouth twitched, thinking that the garden behind was completely made of blue bricks, right? Since they could use it for the land, then why not for the water? Miss Fang had a clearer mind in this aspect than him. She said resolutely, it doesn't cost much. It is going to be very convenient too. Let's do it this way now. Eldest uncle nodded eventually. The well expert patted the thighs and said with a smile, good. It is very sunny these days, let's start the project as soon as possible. Good, good. That the active spring was discovered in the wasteland in the yard of the Xiao family was spread all over the whole village. What? A spring in that wasteland? An active spring? That can't be possible. Boxen OVL. Is it real? They all got shocked and rushed to have a look at the place. Elder uncle was smiling brightly while he was engaged in the work with the well expert, with Xiaoqi helping alongside. Miss Fang was receiving guests who wanted to have a look at it. That is a real, active spring. Just take a look at it as much as you want. My Duan is very lucky to have got a really good wife who has brought so much fortune to us since she marries him. A spring from a wasteland. Now we have water in the yard, and it makes everything so easy. More convenient than a well. And it saves us the trouble of carrying the water. We don't have to spend any more effort. Miss Fang was showing off without trying to conceal a thing. Everyone forced a small smile and answered with, oh yes, true, very convenient. But they were not actually glad to see this. Why did they never run into anything good like this? They had been laughing at the wasteland a couple of days ago, but now the family got an active spring. Look at the spring. It looked so vibrant and clear. Miss Fang felt even more happy seeing everyone's face. They had been bad-mouthing her and the family behind their back, and she knew everything they had said. Now they were slapped right on the face, right? Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were among the group who had watched the show. They felt so sour inside their hearts. After all, they were the ones who laughed loudest at them a couple of days ago. Ms. Ma, who felt really sour, could not help but spit out. Springs here are not reliable. They get dried up in a couple of days. You don't have to spend so much efforts on it. What about waiting for some more days? Ms. Niu laughed. That is so true. Chapter 57 Water and House. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma kept saying bad words, and that made everyone else also laugh. They all started to gossip loudly. Miss Fang was so furious inside her heart, but she said calmly, don't worry, sisters-in-law, the spring was discovered a couple of days ago, and it is still running right now. Ms. Ma snorted and said timidly, I am just reminding you out of kindness. Miss Fang showed a false smile. Oh, thank you very much for the reminder. Ms. Ma. The spring remained active, no matter how much the outsiders expected it to run dry. The work was done in the evening. The clear water ran through the brick-built hidden passage and went into the pool in the yard. The pool was filled with water until it leaked out through the hidden passage. Soon the soil and sand were all filtered through, and the water filled up the pool, clear and clean. In order to prevent dirt from easily falling into the garden, the two pools in the garden and the backyard were built to be 3 bricks higher than the ground and were square, making it clean and easy to use. The whole family got so happy seeing the pool of water. After dinner, they got down to their own business. Second uncle and third uncle came with weird looks on their faces. That Xian had hired some people to help with the land was leaked out, and second uncle and third uncle both heard about the news. Both of them were feeling really annoyed inside their hearts. Moreover, when the spring was discovered in the yard, they felt even more distressed. They came over to make complaints. Brother, you are isolating us. 21 a day, you would rather give them to others than to us. Yes, it is so hurtful. You are even trying to hide it from us. But for the leakage, we would not have known about this at all. Boxan OVL. You are always talking about being the same family. Well, eldest uncle was confused but smiled. Don't get mad, you must have been mistaken. They are just here to help us, and we offer them lunch, but no salary. We will help them back when they need help in the future. Third uncle was annoyed. Now, you are even lying to us. You are. No, eldest uncle called Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian over, asked them about this. Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and threw a quick look at Xiao Xian. We did not talk about salary before, but they were doing a lot of work, so Miss Qiao offered the salary when she felt very guilty. Second uncle and third uncle turned to elder uncle and showed a "look what I said" expression on their faces. Then, we can ask our sons to help you. You have to pay them too. Xiao Lulang, sixth son, was the only child of the third section of the family and he was studying in the school. Hence, third uncle said, I will be there too. Xiao Xian smiled. It would be great if you want to offer help. But second uncle and third uncle, we are a family, aren't we? We can't take money from each other, can we? True, Xiao Sanlang could not help but mumble. We helped you so many times, but you never pay us anything, not even food. Chapter 58. Heartbreaking. Second uncle and third uncle did not hear what Xiao Sanlang said, so they countered Xiao Xian simultaneously. We are separated, we are not a family. Brothers should get paid too, it is fair, isn't it? True. Elder uncle's face turned pale the minute he heard their remarks. How could his brothers say those words? They would not have become so mad as to get confused in their heads, would they? Did they not keep saying that they were not separated, but a whole family? Eldest uncle heard what Xiao Sanlang said as well. He was not very pleased. Suddenly, he felt a bit emotional. Xiao Xian showed her arms and said disappointedly, So, you never thought that we are a family? Second uncle got startled and brought himself back, as he looked at eldest uncle subconsciously. Don't try to turn white into black. Brother, I don't mean this, I mean, you can pay us rather than paying outsiders, right? Xiao Xian sneered inside her heart. Well, that was true, but they never worked hard even when they were paid. Elder uncle sighed and could not utter a word, as he turned to Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian said, I have already paid everyone, and the work should be finished within a day. So, I might consider your offer next time if we have familiar work to do. It was not an easy place to clean. There was grass, weeds and bushes. It would take 5 or 6 more days. Xiao Xian was just trying to shift the whole thing as long as she could. All she needed to do was to say some words. Boxan OVL. She could just make up any number of excuses as she wanted, and could always find some new ones. Xiao Yunduan added. True, we are all living in one village and it is not proper to ask for the payment back, right? Eldest uncle, who was hurt by what his two brothers said, got so confused in mind, so he reacted to Xiao Yunduan's words instinctively. True. Both second uncle and third uncle were taken aback. Their brother had always stood by their sides and he never turned down their demands. But at this moment, his brother ended the hope by just saying such words. And he showed nothing? Xiao Xian smiled. Second uncle and third uncle, we will definitely turn to you for help in the future. We are one family, right? We don't have to split hairs, and it can save me a lot of money too, right? You, third uncle got anxious. Second uncle also exchanged a strange look with him. Then you should take us family into consideration when you have something good to offer. After that, we can talk about payment. What did she mean by saving her a lot of money? They were a family, right? Why save money? She had 26 sets of dowry and so much gold and silver. How could she be so stingy? Xian smiled and said nothing more. Second uncle and third uncle left, looking unsure. Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. If I am asked to plow and put down crops for them in a while, I am going to ask for money too, or at least lunch. Just drop it. Eldest uncle threw his temper at his son and said angrily, why so much talk? Chapter 59 Nonsense. He had intended to put forward the family talk, but when he thought of what his brothers had just said, he swallowed his words. He said stiffly, they help us too, right? Xiao Sanlang got even more mad. They help? I would rather that they don't come. They just make us so angry. Whenever it came to the busy season, the first section of the family would always help the second and the third sections of the family to finish their labor before the other two sections came to help them. But the other two sections always idled around and never did any good work. They were never helpful. Moreover, the first section had to serve them 3 meals a day. If chicken was not served at dinner, they would even complain. But when they helped the other two sections, they not only got no breakfast, but also really little porridge. When dinner came, they served the meal with only soup and a lot of chicken bones. That was what they considered to be chicken dinner. When Xiao Yunduan heard what Xiao Sanlang said, he took Xian away. They had just walked out of the room when Xiao Sanlang's scream arose. He was begging. Dad, don't hit me, please, don't. Xian laughed. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her. This is what Dad has always been like. He can't change so fast. Therefore, when Xiao Sanlang kept nagging about what he had been through, he meant that every time their father got humiliated, he started to teach the son a lesson. Xian said, do you think your dad is right? Xiao Yunduan shook his head. No, but it will take time for him to change. Boxan OVL. Xiao smiled. That was true. The following day, Xiao Dalong and the team were still working on the land, whilst Xiao Xian, together with Xiao Taotao and Xiao Xiaoqi were working on the fruit trees in the yard. She bought fruit trees from a very generous seller who not only helped to dig out the trees but also helped to carry the trees to the yard. The trees can live on like this? Someone asked. Xian smiled and said confidently, of course, it is springtime and it is much easier to water the plants. They will definitely live on. That man said nothing more. It was getting very hot and trees could not grow so well. Watering much did not help the trees to grow. She was talking nonsense. Well, she was wasting her own money, after all. When the seller sold the tree, he took a walk around the river and found a new budding tree for himself. Within 2 days' time, there were 2 loquats trees, 2 dates trees, 1 pomegranate tree, 2 persimmon trees, 2 bayberry trees, 2 plum trees, 2 pear trees, 1 hawthorn, and 2 peach trees in Xiao Xian's yard. Apart from the 2 date trees and bayberry trees as well as pear trees which were as large as a bowl, many were transplanted here after being chopped, and the others were as large as the surface of the bowl, and were transplanted to this place after only a few twigs were chopped. There were even some fruits hanging from the twigs. Xiao Xian poured her superpower into the trees. Hence, the trees turned green and looked alive the following day. But she did not use too much superpower, otherwise they would have grown better. In this way, Xiao Xian was satisfied. She poured in superpower every now and then, so the trees could become really good after just a few months. By that time, no one would find the growth to be strange. Chapter 60 Xiao Xian's attention. Seeing that the fruit trees were growing nicely, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were both very happy as well. They spoke highly of the spring here, which should be very practical to water the plants. Xiao Xian was thinking about the wild lemons she saw at Wangqing Mountains, so she went into the mountains with Xiao Xiaoqi and Taotao. Wild lemons were good for making food and seasoning, as well as perfume making. They already finished consuming the wild animals they got from the last hunt. Xiao Xiaoqi smiled as he said, I have been planning to visit the mountains, and if you want to go to Wangqing Mountains, we can go there together. Xiao Yunduan also decided to tag along, since he had gotten tired of reading. He needed to have a walk in the mountains. Qiao Xian had paid attention to the spot of wild lemons, so they found what they needed very fast. In one ditch there were more than a dozen wild lemon trees growing, 2 of which were as large as arms and were carried home by Qiao Xian. For her, any broken twigs could become budding trees, and they did not need to bring too many of those home. They were so lucky that they found one bergamot tree, which Qiao Xian decided to bring back as well. Then she asked Xiaoqi to help dig 2 wild grape trees. When the trees they needed were picked, they hid them into the bushes and would carry them back when they were heading home. Only now did Xiaoqi start to lead them to hunt for animals. This time, Qiao Xian did not use her superpower to hunt prey for Xiaoqi. Instead, she had been using her superpower to search for some precious plants. The 2 Ganoderma lucidum were not enough to develop the space, and she needed to add some more things inside. Without the guidance of superpower, Xiaoqi took some time to find the preys. But he was not in a hurry either. He was guiding Qiao Xian and the rest of his team to walk through the woods. It took them almost an hour before Qiao Xian found a patch of wild orchids, one of which looked more than ordinary. Boxan OVL. She had no idea what the orchids were called, but she believed that they were very precious. Qiao Xian's eyes brightened as she walked towards that plant. The others did not care about the direction either, because they were idling in the woods anyway. Therefore, they caught up with Qiao Xian. "Look, darling, the orchids look so beautiful. What about taking them home? They look very nice and graceful." Scholars tended to like this kind of thing. Xiao Yunduan had no such hobbies, but he threw a few more glances at the orchids when he heard what she said. They did look very good. So he was persuaded and nodded. "Sounds good." Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao exchanged a surprised look between themselves. They just could not understand why the orchids looked elegant. Qiao Xian headed towards the special orchid, bent and picked it up. But she kept the posture instead of straightening up. The next moment, her hands were empty and next to the spring there appeared another bunch of orchids, facing the Ganoderma lucidum in the space. The long leaves were hanging down, dangling beautifully. Qiao Xian could feel that the space became even more lively, not to a large degree, but there were some changes. Overjoyed, Qiao Xian realized that the space would take in any precious plants. She was right about the orchid being more than ordinary, but what was it called? Also, the space was so craving and demanding so many things. She would feed the space when she had something good. The activeness of the space would frighten anyone who saw it. Chapter 61 Rabbit Nest. Xiao Xian picked 2 more orchids, but there was no activity in the space. After the orchids were taken, they continued to hunt prey. Qiao Xian suddenly felt that the superpower was expanding. It was getting more sensitive as well. It was getting late and they headed home. Xiaoqi had hunted 3 roosters, but Xiao Xian did not have time to boost him. She thought for a while and decided to drop the idea. Too many prey might draw attention, and this amount was enough. She had the superpower, with which she did not have to worry about anything. Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao thought the same. So they went to pick the chopped trees and started to head home. But suddenly, on the way home, Qiao Xian sensed a big activity. On a hill 30 meters away from them, there were hundreds of wild rabbits that had dug hundreds of nests, thanks to the terrain. It was indeed a kingdom of rabbits. Qiao Xian got so overjoyed. She paused and turned in that direction. There is a wild grape tree growing really vividly at that place. I want to take it home. Her small request was not turned down by anyone from the team. So they decided to head towards that place. Then, Xiaoqi accidentally noticed the rabbits on the hill, and as he took a closer look in that direction, he saw that there were so many of them. "Fifth brother, fifth sister-in-law, Taotao, just come and see. There are so many wild rabbits here. This must be their kingdom. How wonderful." Boxan OVL. Xiaozioki's eyes sparkled. He was really excited. Xiao Tao Tao cheered. Remember this place. Henceforth, we will have endless wild rabbits to eat. Xiao nodded with a smile. Same as what I think. They could not help but try to get some more prey on their way home. Xiaoqi had the itch of holding the arrow and brought down 2 wild rabbits. The rabbits which were eating grass next to them, hushed into the hole. Xiaoqi went to pick up the 2 rabbits and smiled at them. I have created this place in mind. Xiao smiled. That makes everything so easy. Yes. Now, they were fully loaded. Apart from the roosters, rabbits and trees, they had got some more mushrooms, including wild shiitakes, enoki mushrooms, and porcini mushrooms. They even pulled out a bunch of wild onions, as well as cress by the creeks. On their way home, they paused and happened to find a patch of yams. They dug 3 to 4 kilos of them. Xiaoqi smiled. We won't make it today, but tomorrow, me and Tao Tao, as well as my elder sister-in-law, will come to dig up everything from this patch. Yams can be stored, and they don't go bad even after being stored for 2 months in the dungeon of the yard. Xiao Tao Tao smiled. Yams are my favorite food. Pink and sticky, very tasty. Xiaoqi added. 5th sister-in-law, will you be able to make any dishes with yams? Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Tao Tao turned to Xiao Xian when he asked the question. Xiao Yunduan was curious, but Xiao Tao Tao was looking forward to the answer. Xiao Xian smiled. Of course, yes. We can wok, stew, cook porridge and serve cold dishes with yams. We can also make yam mash, steam tams, crush them or add egg flour to make yam cakes, dry and grind yam into powder to make yam pastry, and hang syrup to make yam desserts, Xiao Tao Tao gasped. So many ways of eating yams. Everything sounded so tasty. Xiaoqi could not help but show a drooling look. 5th brother, you are so lucky to have married such a capable 5th sister-in-law. Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Xian laughed. We can stew wild roosters with yams tonight, then we can also eat woked sliced yams and syrup yams. Now, I am craving for them too. Chapter 62 Sour Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao nodded out of excitement. They hurried back home. Once they went back home, Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao became busy in processing the yams, mushrooms and roosters, whilst Xiao Yunduan kept Xiao Xian company and helped to put down the wild lemons and bergamots as well as grapes. As the wild grapes were planted in the opening place inside the land, Xiao Xian decided to set up a frame. She decided to try if the superpower could change the quality of the fruits, which she firmly believed could. She was especially satisfied by the 2 wild lemons, and she looked at them with deep affection. Xiao Yunduan could not help but ask. Would the fruits taste good when planted in this way? Xiao Xian smiled. What do you think? Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and said, maybe not. The fruits looked like citruses, but they were not. On the other hand, fruit trees such as wild citrus produced fruits that were basically either bitter, astringent or sour, and could not be eaten at all. Xiao Xian smiled. You are right, the fruits would taste very sour. Xiao Yunduan just could not understand. He became even more curious. Then, why did you bring them home as if they were precious things? Xiao Xian answered. I like sour things. Xiao Yunduan. He felt that she was talking about something else. She likes sour things? Did she mean that she could get sour and jealous very easily? That made Xiao Yunduan's heart skip a beat. But then Xiao Xian chuckled. All right, I will not tease you any more. Lemons are sour, but they are good for seasoning, better than vinegar. You wait until I make some dishes for you to taste, when the fruits get ripened. There were many dishes that could be made with lemons, such as lemon ducks, lemon chicken, lemon shrimps, lemon fish, lemon ribs, sugar lemon syrup, lemon honey water, etc. However, the pity was that they could not buy a large amount of chicken feet, otherwise she could make a very tasty chicken feet dish. Xiao Yinduan stiffened and let out a very expressionless okay. He started to feel a bit shameless inside his heart. He had misunderstood her again. She just wanted to make dishes with lemons, and meant nothing else. What was he thinking about? Luckily she was not aware of what he was thinking, otherwise. Xiao saw that his interest had dropped, and thought that he may not have believed her. So, she kept explaining to him. It is true. Trust me, wild lemons create yummy dishes. I am sure that you will change your mind after one bite. Xiao Yunduan replied. I don't like sour things. Xiao blinked. Then you definitely need to try the dishes, they have a different kind of sourness. Xiao Yunduan. He really had no interest in hearing the word sour anymore. It would make him think too much of what should not have been considered. Just have a try. She insisted. Okay, Xiao Yunduan simply wanted to end the topic. Xiao chuckled. There was no flower pot for orchids, so Xiao Yunduan decided to buy some porcelain pots from the porcelain sellers. He was going to put down the orchids as soon as possible. Xiao insisted on going there with him. The village was very close to where they lived, and it took them less than 10 minutes. There were all kinds of porcelain at the store, some of which were terribly made, and some were nature-looking and possessed ancient elements. Xiao was obsessed with everything on the shelf. Xiao Yunduan picked 6 pots and the seller tied up everything with one straw rope. They were headed home as it was getting late. On the way home, they suddenly heard a man and a woman talking with each other in the bushes. The steamed bun tastes so good, the filling is leeks with eggs. I have not yet eaten such delicious food for so long. Just enjoy yourself, I can bring you 2 more around this time tomorrow. Chapter 63 Cultivated Talent's wife, do you want to have a bite too? No thanks, I have food at home. Brother Xiao, you are so nice. I wonder if we can get married, as we wish to. Don't worry, I already told my mom that I will only marry you. I will tell Mom again tomorrow. She is a very soft-hearted person, and I am her son. I am sure that she will give her consent to our marriage. Really? You should not lie to me. I will definitely not. Ah, the steamed buns are so tasty. Xiao tilted her head and looked at Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had no expression on his face, but he was not in a good mood. Xiao used her superpower and figured out who the boy and the girl were. The boy was Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Yunduan's brother, whilst the other was a 16-year-old girl. She was dressed in a blouse with many stitched patches and her hair had turned yellow. But her skin was fair and her lips were very thin. She had a very tall nose bridge, and looked quite pretty. But for the malnutrition, she would have looked even better. Xiaoni, which was the name that emerged inside Xiao head. Her brother-in-law was talking about marrying a girl like that, but her mother-in-law did not say anything about it. She had no idea why there was no approval, and she had an interest in gossip. She believed that her mother-in-law must have had some reason to turn down the marriage. Xiao was quite surprised to hear how young Xiaoni talked and what she looked like. She seemed like a very nice girl. Xiao Yunduan was, however, thinking inside his heart that his brother was acting so unreliably. What was he doing here? He was speaking so loudly close to the road. It was lucky that it had been him and Xiao who heard their conversation. What if they were heard by someone else? Moreover, he should not have had a date with someone privately. It was so immoral. Xiao Yunduan made some coughing sound. The voices in the bushes stopped suddenly. Brother, it is getting late, time to go home. Xiao Yunduan said. Then a shushing sound came, and Xiao Sanlang walked out. Behind him was young Xiaoni, who looked bashful and was twisting the hem of her blouse. Oh, brother and sister-in-law, Xiao Sanlang scratched his head, looking timid. Cultivated Talent Xiao, and Cultivated Talent's wife, I need to leave. Young Xiaoni forced a smile and greeted Xiao Yunduan and Xiao as she dashed off. Xiao almost held her laughter, Cultivated Talent's wife? What kind of title was that? You went to buy pots, for flowers? Oh, there are so many of them, let me carry some for you. Xiao Sanlang said with a flattering laugh, and grabbed the pots from Xiao Yunduan's arms. He blinked at his brother and begged. Brother, please don't mention this to Mom, okay? Keep this a secret from me, and I will give you all, no, half of what I earn, for real. He needed to use the other half to buy food for Xiaoni. Xiao Yunduan looked at him with no expression on his face. You better pray that no one else will pass by you in the future. Xiao Sanlang's face changed as he said regretfully, I wasn't paying attention, there were no rules in the countryside like this. Girls from farmers' families went down to the field to work. There was always a matchmaker who would arrange the marriage, if the two sides found each other to be good suitors. But private dates did not work that well. There would be gossip and rumors spread all around, once they were heard and seen like this. Moreover, Mom did not like the young family. Chapter 64 No explanation, it is my fault. Xiao Sanlang struck his own head. He looked so anxious. What should we do? Brother, please help me think of a solution. Xiao Yunduan frowned. Brother. Xiao Sanlang got anxious. You can't watch me suffer just because you have married such a good wife. I even helped you drive away bad people in the past. Qiao Xian could not help but throw a look at Xiao Yunduan, who happened to be looking at her. Qiao Xian was smiling and Xiao Yunduan instantly withdrew his look. He could not make it clear to his brother about his actual relationship with Qiao Xian. How can I help you? The girl is good, but her brother and sister-in-law want 80 liang as the wedding gifts, not a one less. What can you expect Mom to do? Xiao Sanlang was struck speechless. Qiao Xian was surprised too. No wonder her mother-in-law did not approve of the marriage, even though the girl was good and her son loved her. It was young Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law who were the issue. 80 liang, that was really too much. It seemed that they believed young Xiaoni was the girl whom the man loved, and that their sister would be able to get a lot of wedding gifts from her future in-laws. If they had only asked for 20 liang, then her mother-in-law might have tried her best to offer that. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment. That couple is just crazy. They bully Xiaoni every day and make her do all kind of hard work. They even starve her. Brother, she is really suffering from a terrible life. Oh, please, Xiao Sanlang turned to Qiao Xian, sounding hesitant. Before he could say anything, Xiao Yunduan said, stop it. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment and said nothing. Qiao Xian got it. The brother-in-law wanted to ask for a loan from her dowry, and hence, Xiao Yunduan interrupted him when he found it not to be proper. Qiao Xian had no intention of getting involved, but now she turned a little soft-hearted. She asked in a soft tone. Brother, can you talk with Mom about having a talk with the Yang family? Maybe they are just asking for a price randomly, and we can negotiate the bride price. No one else would offer such money either. Honestly speaking, even if the girl is sold as a maid to some rich family, the price would be 20 liang. The Yang family should know what to do. Xiao Sanlang did not feel that he was offended. Instead, his eyes sparkled. True. You are right, they should know that marrying Xiaoni to me is the best deal. Thanks, sister-in-law, I will talk with Mom about it. Qiao Xian smiled. You are welcome. Xiao Sanlang smiled and turned to Xiao Yunduan. You think I can make it this time? Xiao Yunduan said, I am not sure. They could not predict what the Yang family would think. His mother had been to the family twice, and the couple should know about his brother's affection towards Xiaoni. His mother's third visit would make things worse, maybe. Xiao Sanlang looked annoyed. Can't you say something nice? Xiao Yunduan sighed. Pretty words don't work. Xiao Sanlang. Qiao Xian chuckled. As they returned home, they chopped the orchids and Xiao Xian went to the kitchen to make some more dishes. Chapter 65 Coldness. Xiao Tao Tao and Xiaoxi were waiting for Xian and they cheered as they caught sight of her. Fifth sister-in-law, we have already dealt with the chicken, rabbits, and yams. We are all waiting for you. Even Ms. Fang and Ms. Su were wearing a look of expectation. They all liked the dishes Xian made. In the past, they only knew how to stew and braise wild roosters and rabbits, but she was able to create different ways of eating, which they never got tired of. Gradually, the whole family became slightly biased about Xian's food. As for her splurging of oil, salt and seasoning, well, they could just ignore that. Xian nodded with a smile and went into the kitchen, with her sleeves rolled up. They had 3 wild roosters and 2 wild rabbits. 2 of the rabbits were hidden, unknown to the other sections of the family. When the ants from the other 2 sections came to get a wild rooster for each of them, Miss Fang ignored them. They only had 1 wild rooster and 1 rabbit for her own family, and the other wild rabbit could be left for tomorrow night. The yams were stewed with chicken and porcinis, whilst rabbits were fried with chili and garlic. Then, she soaked a handful of fungus that had dried 2 days ago, cut water celery into sections, sliced yams with an oblique knife, and stir-fried them together. Not only was the dish fresh and delicious, but the color looked really bright as well. After that, she fried a dish of lettuce. The yams were diced and served on the table after being well placed. Soon, she made 1 more dish of sugar-coated yams. As they were about to eat the food, Xian told everyone to eat the sugar-coated yams first. It would not taste good when it gets cold. The whole yams had been cooled with a layer of amber-colored syrup, looking crystal clear and beautiful. Even the air felt sweet, delicious and attractive. Everyone started to pick up the chopsticks. Oh, it is so delicious. It is very sweet and nice. How did you come up with this idea of making yams? Let me eat some more. Miss Su was surprised too. She, on one hand, gave some to her children whilst stuffing a lot into her own mouth. She believed that the dish would taste equally good even after it turned cold. Miss Fang was also a little worried about the sugar, thinking that Miss Qiao had used too much of it. She was going to tell her to save some sugar even though it was bought with her own money. Seeing her grandchildren enjoying themselves, Miss Fang said with a smile, "You have eaten so much, third son. Don't eat any more, spare some for Junyan and Qing." Eldest uncle was eating as he started to speak. All children like it. We can spare some, so Tao Tao can share some with Xianwen and Wan later. Xiao Xianwen and Xiao Wan were the grandchildren of the second uncle. Cold air spread across the table the moment the words were spoken. Xian pursed her lips. It was enough. Miss Fang sneered. We have very little ourselves, and we will get troubled by the second and the third sections of the family. I don't think they will get enough of our food. Xiao Sanlang nodded. True. Then, he stuffed a slice into his own mouth again. Xiao Junyan had just finished what he was given in the bowl and he wanted to have some more. But Miss Su did not dare to take any more slices after hearing what her father-in-law said. She consoled him by patting his back and offered him wild roosters instead. Miss Fang did not care. She gave Xiao Junyan some more and said, "Lovely grandson, we barely have a chance to eat such a thing, take as much as you want." She did not want to share anything with any other sections of the family, when she had her grandchildren to take care of. Chapter 66 Not countering eldest uncle's face sank. Xiao Yunduan said, "Dad, just eat your food. We can share some things when we have more in the future." Xian smiled. True, when we have sugar next time, I can make half a basin for them if they want. As for the dishes on the table, she had full control of them since she bought them with her dowry. Miss Fang snapped. I won't buy this much sugar. Eldest uncle was stuck with anger. Why was Miss Qiao talking about her dowry all the time? He simply had no way to counter her. He could only abstain from eating every dish bought with her dowry. But there was nothing else he could do. After all, he could not stop the others from eating the dishes. Eldest uncle suddenly felt very sad. It seemed as if he were like an outsider, though he was the master of the family, whilst the others present belonged to another family. Qiao Xian had no idea what Xiao Sanlang said to her mother-in-law, but she found that her mother-in-law looked very gloomy the following morning. After breakfast, Miss Fang asked Xiao Xian to come to her side. "Miss Qiao, could you please accompany me to a place later?" She had been feeling embarrassed when she first started the conversation, but gradually, she got excited. Honestly, that couple of the Yang family are goddamned hooligans, right? 80 Liang? Do they think that young Xiaoni is a fairy? We are trying to talk about marriage, but they are selling their sister. They want nothing but money. They annoyed me so badly last time. But young Xiaoni is a very strong girl and she can do a lot of labor work. Moreover, my son loves her, but what can we do about her family? And this son of mine seems to be so obsessed with her. What do I do about it? Miss Fang made a lot of complaints and told Xiao Xian that she was very clever, so she hoped that she could keep her company while visiting the Yang family. Miss Su was not reliable. She did bring Miss Su with her last time, but the daughter-in-law did not dare to utter any words. She just stood there motionlessly like a piece of wood. Xiao Xian would not turn down her mother-in-law's request. She consoled her and said with a smile, "Mom, if you like that girl from the Yang family and my brother loves her, then I will keep you company. But how much do you want to offer as a wedding present to them? We need to have an estimate for the bottom line figure." Miss Fang suddenly felt her heart ache. They had no savings at home. The other sections of the family kept their eyes glued upon all the income she earned from selling pigs, chickens, ducks, eggs, beans and even peanuts. Xiao Yunduan was quite frugal at school and often earned his pocket money by copying books in exchange for paper and ink with bookstores. Qi also hunted many animals which brought in some income. But Xiao Yunduan's wedding almost cost them everything they had. So she had less than 10 liang in savings. This was after accumulating the change she earned as well as the payment she got from Xiao Dalong's salary from Qiao Xian as well as the 5 qian Xiao Xiaoqi offered to her a couple of days ago. She decided to borrow 2 liang from some friends because by the end of the year, she could get 10 liang after selling the pigs. 10 at most, or 11 liang, no more. 10 liang was already a large amount. Villagers did not have a rich life, and for those who had the intention of starting a martial relationship, 3 or 5 liang would already be enough. 6 or 7 liang would mean a large wedding. Chapter 67 meaning 10 liang was already over the top. But the Yang family had asked for 80 liang, and 10 liang might not work. "Mom." Qiao Xian smiled. "What about me offering 10 liang as well and together, we have 20 liang. Listen to me, Mom, I don't do housework, and third sister-in-law might not like me after she comes to our family because of my laziness. But if I pay the 10 liang here, she will not be able to say anything bad about me. Then, we will have one large, happy family. I am actually taking advantage of you all." Miss Fang was startled. After thinking about it, she could not utter a word in response. She sighed. "Miss Qiao, this is, Mom." Qiao Xian smiled. "My husband is studying at school and you all support him. So it is our duty to make contributions to the family. When my husband gets a promising job in the future, he is going to take care of the family. Okay." Miss Fang patted her hands slightly. "It is Duan's luck to have married a wife like you. If he ever treats you badly, you have to tell me. I will teach him a lesson on your behalf. No matter whether he is going to have a promising future, he will never betray you." Qiao Xian's heart turned warm and she said with a smile, "Mom, I will keep your words in mind. If my husband treats me badly, I will report him to you directly so you can hit him." Miss Fang smiled. Of course, of course. You are so nice, Mom." Outside the room, Xiao Yunduan left from there but he felt that his feet were floating high on the air. His head had turned messy. He really had no idea what this woman was thinking about. What did she mean? She should not have made such an offer. Moreover, it wasn't so nice to say things so boldly. What was she thinking all the time? After Xiao and Ms. Fang were done with the discussion, they headed to the Yang family together. Yang Xiaoni's parents passed away ages ago, and her brother, Yang Liang, and sister-in-law, Miss Tian, were both lazy and greedy. They should have gone out for work by this hour, but in the Yang family, only young Xiaoni was forced to do the hard work whilst Yang Liang was just idling around and Miss Tian was lazing around at home. Seeing Miss Fang coming over with her daughter-in-law, Miss Tian's eyes sparkled. "Oh hey, you are here again, come in and take a seat." She sized up Xiao and displayed a look of greed. She showed a hidden smile. "This daughter-in-law of yours couldn't have been born in the countryside. She must be your fifth daughter-in-law, the daughter of the county magistrate, right? Oh, she looks so beautiful. Only a cultivated talent can be a match for her." Miss Fang knew what Miss Tian was doing. But she was happy to hear what was being said, so she added, "My daughter-in-law is a very good girl." "Of course." Miss Tian showed a smile and sent her elder son to get his father back. After a few sentences, Miss Tian asked purposefully, "What are you doing here?" Miss Fang was cursing her inwardly. This Miss Tian was trying to calculate Miss Qiao. But for her stupid son who had fallen for young Xiaoni, she would not have walked into a family like this ever in her life. Who would want to hang out with someone like this? Miss Fang smiled. "Let's wait until your husband comes back." Miss Tian smiled and said confidently, "Of course, my husband makes decisions for all kinds of important things in the house." Soon, Yang Liang hurried back. He looked at Miss Qiao and Miss Fang, greeting them happily. Chapter 68 Yang Xiaoni's happiness. Yang Liang was sizing up Qiao while they were talking. He looked greedy and indecent. Qiao felt very disgusted. Miss Fang sank her face and coughed. "Yang Liang, you two know what I am here for. We think that Xiaoni is very diligent and kind, so we need to talk about the wedding gift." Yang Liang and his wife exchanged a look between themselves. They looked really proud. They knew that the Xiao family would be coming to them. Miss Tian snapped inside her heart. What was so good about young Xiaoni? Xiao Sanlang was so obsessed that he just wanted to marry her. The Xiao family was a good family. Why should young Xiaoni go and enjoy herself? Miss Fang was not a very good-tempered woman, and they even had one cultivated talent at home. It was said that the second and the third section of the family were not very good-tempered either. So they needed to find some way to control them. The little bitch Xiaoni was good-looking enough to marry anyone. She should stay at home and do some more labor before she married some old man as a concubine. That was a better plan. Miss Tian believed that as long as young Xiaoni married someone bad, she could be flexible with the wedding gifts. It was because of this thought, Yang Liang asked for a very high price as wedding gifts. Otherwise, Yang Liang would have said yes about the Yang family marrying young Xiaoni. Yang Liang smiled. "Miss Fang, my sister is very good-looking, and she is worth around 100 liang. If you want to have her as part of your family, you won't care about this little amount of money, would you?" "What are you talking about?" Miss Fang was both surprised and angry. 100 liang? You raised the price. And this little amount of money? Did the Yang family have this much? Yang Liang said, "Of course, you have got a rich daughter-in-law. Why do you care so much about this little amount of money?" "True." Miss Tian showed a false smile. "When your fifth daughter-in-law held the wedding, she had 26 sets of dowry. That is more than 100 liang, right?" Yang Liang nodded in agreement and then added, 100 liang, and 2 sets of, no, 6 sets of cotton garments. Ms. Tian said, also, a pair of silver hairpins and 1 pair of bracelets. Miss Fang got so annoyed. "How dare you say these things? We can have any girl as a daughter-in-law we want, yours is not necessary." Miss Fang was so annoyed. She had never met anyone so disgusting. Miss Tian let out a snort. She said slowly, Miss Fang, you have a fifth daughter-in-law who has so much dowry. You don't even want to pay this much money. I think it is because you are not actually sincere. Miss Fang snapped. Miss Qiao has full control of her dowry. We would never covet it. Also, we would never pay so much to marry someone home. Stop dreaming. It seems we have nothing to talk about anymore. Ms. Qiao, let's leave. Miss Fang regretted having paid such a visit. It was so humiliating. She swore that she was not going to be here ever again. She was not going to bring in young Xiaoni as her daughter-in-law either. She was going to teach her third son a lesson. She was going to find another suitable girl for him so he could forget about young Xiaoni. Mom. Qiao Xian patted Miss Fang's hand and said to them, young Xiaoni is 18 years old. You want to keep her until she becomes too old? If we have her as the daughter-in-law, we will definitely not treat her badly. You really don't want to allow her to be part of our family, right? Chapter 69. Xiao Xian's idea. Yang Liang was startled and started to hesitate. He knew pretty well that but for Xiao Sanlang's affection towards Xiaoni, no families would turn their eyes upon a family like them. Miss Tian sneered. You don't have to worry about a thing. Xiao Xian suddenly realized what was going on. Miss Tian was trying to make this marriage not happen. All families were worried that their girls would be too old to get married, yet Miss Tian feared nothing. She did not care about young Xiaoni, nor did she care about her reputation. She disliked young Xiaoni. No, she hated her. We want to offer 20 liang as a wedding gift. Are you not going to consider it? No, no way. Think about this, and we will come to you in a couple of days, said Xiao Xian and left with Miss Fang. Mom, let's go to the village and find the land officer there. We can ask the chiefs of the Yang family for help. Miss Fang sighed. Silly girl, it won't work even if we speak with them. They can't make the decision either. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian are a greedy couple and they won't listen to anyone. It was always the parents who decided who their daughter should marry, and when the parents were gone, their siblings would make the decision instead. Who else could have the authority? Xiao Xian sneered. Mom, we don't need them to have the decision-making authority. What we need is just to let the young village know that we are here to establish a marital relationship sincerely. There should be a turning point after that. Miss Fang, who was angry, suddenly turned lively. She nodded. We can discuss this in detail. We should let everyone know what is going on, and at least, we can make the couple feel bad. Miss Fang did not think that there would be any turning point. But, she could at least vent the anger. So, they headed to the land officer of the young village and then, they went to the chiefs and aunts. All of them could not help but sigh. Soon, the story spread all over the whole village. Yang Liang and his wife are crazy. Xiaoni is very pretty, and the Xiao family are so devoted. How could they say no? True, that is 20 liang. My daughter's wedding gift was only 6 liang. The couple is really terrible, you know. Miss Tian lectures and hits Xiaoni and she has to do all the labor of the family. They would not want to marry her away. But Xiaoni has grown up. Are they going to keep her next to them forever? That is just too immoral. How dare you marry a girl to their family? It is definitely a pit. Poor Xiaoni. She has no parents. Her brother is such a useless man and her sister-in-law is stingy. Sigh. Poor girl. Poor girl, indeed. Yang Liang was so humiliated that he did not dare to go out. He was the brother, yet he was doing something wrong. Miss Fang got really annoyed. She cursed at Miss Fang and Miss Qiao, and then she called the villagers nosy. They were not in the position to discuss their family affairs. It had nothing to do with them. I can marry my sister-in-law to anyone I want. None of your business. I don't care about the goddamned Xiao family. You can take them from me, if you want to. Chapter 70. Ms. Tian's fierce words. Ms. Tian cursed the whole village, and everyone, who heard her, could not help but shake their heads. They were looking down at her. It was a common thing if a sister-in-law did not like her husband's sister, since stepmothers never liked the children from the previous marriage. Yet Ms. Tian's behavior was way over the top. She was not only forcing young Xiaoni to work hard and feed her no good food, but was also trying to ruin the rest of her life. Why was she not satisfied with the Xiao family? They were far better than the Yang family, and they even had a cultivated talent in the family, who could have a promising future. They had offered a high-priced wedding gift as well, worth 20 liang. The Yang family had never seen a wedding gift of over 20 liang. The couple was asking for far too much. They craved for 100 liang as well as silver hairpins and bracelets as well as the best cotton. They were not really devoted to the marriage. They were trying to annoy the Xiao family. Miss Tian complained all over the village, and someone reminded Yang Liang about his wife's behavior that might offend the whole village. If she caused a bad name for herself, their sons would never have any wife in the future. Only then did Yang Liang pull Miss Tian back home. On the way home, Miss Tian kept cursing loudly. Her two sons were too young to consider a potential wife. Miss Tian could not help but get annoyed when she saw young Xiaoni back at home. She lectured constantly. Young Xiaoni had her own way of survival and was used to being lectured by this sister-in-law of hers. She ignored those unfriendly words and also idled about when she was supposed to be working out there. She was trying her best not to exhaust herself. Miss Tian was extremely fierce today. But she ignored those words as usual. Miss Tian could not help but stand up and slap young Xiaoni's face. She screamed. "Bitch, what are you wearing this expression for when I am speaking with you? Can't I just tell you a few words when you live under my roof? You have to turn to me and ask for my permission, if you want to marry into a good family. Let me tell you, you are never going to marry anyone good. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Young Xiaoni was startled. She got annoyed, furious, irritated and scared. With hands over her face, she rushed out. Young Xiaoni had 2 large hand prints on each of her cheeks, as she ran all the way to 3rd Grandma Yang and 3rd Grandpa Yang. She was begging in tears for help. 3rd Grandpa Yang was her grandpa's brother, and he was the close relative to the Yang family when her parents were still alive. The two families had a relatively good relationship. Yang Liang was useless, and Ms. Tian was rude, so during the past few years, no one from the village had the interest of hanging out with them. But when young Xiaoni came to the door and begged for help, 3rd Grandma Yang and 3rd Grandpa Yang could not help but feel moved. "What, Miss Tian hit you? That is so cruel." 3rd Grandma Yang gasped as she said in a pitiful tone. She became increasingly annoyed when she thought of how Miss Tian made ruckus across the whole village earlier that day. Soon, some chiefs and land officers were invited to 3rd Grandpa Yang's home. It was not a good thing if a rude and wild housewife was living in the village. The young village would be laughed at by others. They had to do something about this. Young Xiaoni felt slightly assured and stood there respectfully. Xiao Sanlang had come to her secretly on the ground earlier and told her that if her sister-in-law hit her, she should go to 3rd Grandpa Yang for help with tears in eyes. She had not fully understood what was the reason for him saying so. But her sister-in-law did hit her. Chapter 71. The villagers look. If the chiefs and land officers could help her realize the wish, that would be great. Soon, Yang Liang and Ms. Tian came over. Yang Liang's face sank as he glared at young Xiaoni. This damned girl had reported them to 3rd Grandpa Yang. What a heartless girl. Ms. Tian cursed young Xiaoni fiercely. "You bitch, what are you being so crazy for? I feed you and give you a place to live, but you are not satisfied with it and come to report your brother and sister-in-law to the public. How dare you?" Hearing that she was turning the truth upside down, the chiefs and land officer as well as the villagers were disgusted and irritated. Miss Tian, what are you talking about? Shame on you. You aren't afraid of being punished by heaven? The land officer said coldly, Miss Tian, we have rules in our village. You are the Yang family's daughter-in-law, and you should not ruin your family's name. Your in-laws are dead, and Xiaoni has been working so devotedly for years. How can you treat her like this? Yang Liang, how dare you bully your sister like this? Aren't you afraid that your deceased parents would turn into ghosts and come to you at night? Yang Liang cringed and stood in the corner, showing a little fear. Miss Tian shouted. Land officer, you should not wrong me. This bitch. Xiaoni has grown up and she can't just live under our roof without doing anything, right? Every girl in the village works. You don't know that this girl is really lazy and tricky. She is greedy and craves food all the time. If we don't urge her to work, she won't even move an inch. I have to teach her as a sister-in-law all the time. I am teaching her a lesson, not bullying her. Who says that I am bullying her? Come and show me the proof. You. The land officer was very annoyed. The villagers exchanged a helpless look among themselves and could not say a thing. It was a family affair that could not be explained clearly. No one could stand up and show the proof. How could there be a proof for something like this? Miss Tian showed a look of pride and snorted. Bitch, what are you staying here for? You should remember which family you are living under. She meant to tell her that she was living under her roof. Young Xiaoni was sobbing as she grabbed third Grandma Yang's arms. No, I am not going back. She is going to kill me. Shut up, that is enough, what are you talking about? Yang Liang was annoyed too as he snapped at her in a fierce voice. This bitch should not have spread bad things about the family to outsiders. You two treat her like this in front of us. How can we trust that you treat her well behind our back? Third Grandma Yang said annoyedly, I watched Xiaoni growing up and she is a really good girl. How can you think that you are reasonable, when you lecture her and order to do this and that all the time? Miss Tian, don't think so highly of yourself. Just because no one can prove it doesn't necessarily mean that you have done nothing. You know pretty well what you have done. Everyone can see that you have done something bad. Watch out for repayment. Okay, now, I am going to ask you what you are going to do with Xiaoni's marriage. Miss Tian was feeling so annoyed and cursed this old grandma for being nosy. She snorted. That is our business. This is the Yang's family and when your parents were alive, they respected me enough. Xiaoni calls me third grandma, so I have the right to ask you about it. Miss Tian was about to say something when third Grandma Yang said coldly, Yang Liang, you are the master of the family. Are you going to keep Xiaoni until she gets too old to marry someone? Are you sure this is the right thing to show respect to your parents? Chapter 72 Irritation. Yang Liang forced out a word. Of course not. Then, just make a decision about her marriage. Yang Liang was staggering. We are trying to find a suitor for her, aren't we? Oh, yes? Third Grandma Yang sneered. Xiao Dakan's family offers you 20 liang but you still don't think that is enough. What kind of family do you plan to find? Miss Tian said, the Xiao family is so rich. If they want to set up the marriage, they need to offer more than 20 liang. They are looking down at us. We can't marry her to the Xiao family. So, you find someone better? The land officer said, the Xiao family has a lot of money but the money is at their disposal. 20 liang is well over the standard for a village wedding. Miss Tian immediately responded. We are seeking a good suitor for her all the time. Nonsense. Third Grandma Yang was terribly annoyed by the shameless words spoken by Miss Tian. Miss Fang and Xiao Xian had gone to their home for help. Moreover, Miss Fang gave her the money which was enough for buying at least 300 kilograms of rice. That pleased her a great deal. Miss Fang had even suggested that she was going to offer more money if the marriage worked out well. Third Grandma Yang had naturally agreed to help. She felt sorry for young Xiaoni, but she was not part of the family, so she could not say something rashly. Also, Miss Tian was a very fierce woman and no one would dare to irritate her for no reason. But things were different at the moment. Young Xiaoni came to ask her for help in tears, and she, as the elderly woman in the village, could not just push away the girl under such circumstances. That was why she decided to get involved. Miss Tian had managed to irritate the whole village, and this was the best time to do something about it. Third Grandma Yang said coldly, "I will tell you this today, Xiaoni is a poor girl and she is asking me for help, so I will not leave her alone. If you are not satisfied by the Xiao family's proposal, you need to find someone better than the Xiao family quickly. Xiaoni is no longer young and she can't wait. You have to settle this marriage for her within 1 month. Yang Liang, you better bear in mind that young Xiaoni is your sister. Miss Tian, we can't allow this thing to spread outside our village. If you continue to cause trouble, you better go to the ancestral hall and get your mind cleared." The other chiefs nodded in agreement. Everyone was looking at Ms. Tian with disgust. The reputation of the Yang family could not be ruined because of this woman. Ms. Tian was very annoyed as she glared back at young Xiaoni. "We are a poor family and we have no parents who defend us. You all are bullying me and we have nowhere to express ourselves." Third Grandma Yang got so annoyed that she glared at Miss Tian. This woman was very tricky and annoying. What she said could just make anyone hearing her words get irritated. Third Grandma Yang got very annoyed. She was a respected elderly woman who had never been countered by anybody younger like this. She would not allow this woman to oppose her publicly. If she retreated now, she would be humiliated as well. So, Third Grandma Yang stuck to her suggestion and the land officer, as well as the chiefs, all took her side and held a grudge against Miss Tian. No matter how Miss Tian tried to turn the truth upside down, young Xiaoni's marriage would most likely be settled in the way as Third Grandma Yang had suggested. It had to be settled in 1 month's time. If they did not like the Xiao family, the couple needed to find someone who exceeded the Xiao family in some way. Chapter 73. Dumb. Since she kept saying that they were doing this for young Xiaoni's sake, then alright, do it for her. Young Xiaoni did not want to go home with her brother and sister-in-law. Third Grandma, Land Officer, and Chief Grandpas, could I just stay at the Ancestral Hall? I can do all kinds of work. Third Grandma, I can work for you, but please just give me some food. I don't eat much, really not. Young Xiaoni cried so badly as she did not let go of Third Grandma Yang's arms. Everyone felt sorry for her but could not say a thing. The ancestral hall was very sinister, with no one living there and nothing except for the ancestral tablets. Only those who made big mistakes would be ordered to live there. Otherwise, no one else would do so willingly. This girl must have got so frightened that she could not think clearly. If this couple had any conscience, this girl would not have made such a request. Both Yang Liang and Ms. Tian were furious. What are you doing? Just follow us home quietly. Why are you going to the ancestral hall when you have a home? Yang Liang's veins were almost popping out on his forehead. This ungrateful girl. Ms. Tian sneered. This damned girl is thinking about doing no work. Don't listen to her nonsense. Yang Liang got even more furious. He tugged at young Xiaoni and said, "Just shut up and come home with us." Young Xiaoni cried loudly. "Please, save me, Third Grandma Yang, please. No one should live in the ancestral hall for no reason." Third Grandma Yang sighed and said, "It is okay, Xiaoni, just go home. If anyone hits you or lectures you, just come to me and I will seek justice for you. We are a family and we should not allow anyone to preach or hit people. We will teach her a lesson, if she dares to do so. We need to make sure that the whole clan is clean and has a good reputation." The other aunts also came to console young Xiaoni, who was still crying out of fear. All the bystanders felt very sorry. What a pity. She was a nice girl, but with such a couple as the brother and sister-in-law, she was going to suffer a great deal. In the end, third Grandma Yang asked Xiaoni to stay at her place overnight and leave the next day. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian glared at Xiaoni and left. The bystanders all sighed, shook their heads and also left. Back at home, Ms. Tian kept hitting Yang Liang whilst cursing him. Yang Liang felt so annoyed that he started to dislike Xiaoni as well. She was just asked to do some labor work. What was she being so stingy for? Her brother and sister-in-law were supporting her. In return, she did not even want to help with some work. Worse, she even got her brother and sister-in-law humiliated in front of the whole village. Daughters always turned their elbows out against their own family. Miss Fang learned of what happened at the Yang family the following day. She told Xian about this, but she also felt quite worried. Xian consoled her. Don't worry, Mom. Xiaoni seems to be quite clever, and she won't lose much. Miss Tian won't dare to kill her anyway, right? Mom, what about reminding third brother that he should not meet Xiaoni privately for some time? What if they were caught? That would be very bad. Miss Fang agreed and told Xiao Sanlang about this. Xiao Sanlang was very anxious. He was afraid that Xiaoni would face trouble. But he did not dare to do a thing, especially since his mother warned him not to be impulsive. Xian's land was finally ready. There was no brick wall around the patch, but bamboos were set up around the perimeter. Behind that, all the iron fences dug from the mountains were put up and wild roses, which could climb along the wall, were planted as well. Chapter 74 Xian's smile. Xian had transplanted all those plants from mountains and later, she was going to use her superpower so they could grow beautifully. When Xiao Dalong was helping with the fence, Xian and Xiao Yunduan were getting ready to buy some flowers in the city. Xian smiled. Actually, Qi and Tao Tao would be enough to come along with me. This visit might waste your study time. I don't want Mom and Dad to blame me. Xiao Yunduan said, it is fine, I also need to walk around a little. She was his wife, at least in name, and it was normal that he kept her company on her trip. The Qiao family did not treat her well. What if they ran into the Qiao family and she was bullied by them? What would Qi and Tao Tao be able to do about it? Xian smiled and accepted the offer. There was only one flower store in the city, and offered just a few kinds of flowers. Xian bought all the flowers including pomegranates, jasmines, gardenias, cloves, Chinese roses, ordinary roses, sweet-scented osmanthus, white orchids. The bullock cart was filled with them. The florist was very happy and even gave her some rebate. All those flowers were very commonly seen varieties, and the whole thing cost her only 3.2 liang. The flowers were unloaded and Xiaoqi, as well as Xiao Tao Tao came over to help carry the flowers under Xian's instruction. Ms. Su, who had been working on the fences, joined them too. Ms. Su was smiling happily. She had been very motivated to work recently. She got up when dawn broke and had even taken over all the housework, including washing clothes and dishes, even feeding the pigs before coming to the land to help. The land work wasn't an easy job, so Xian gave them a raise, making it 30 won a day. Xian got a pair of scissors, and she cut away many twigs of those flowers and planted them into the earth directly. It looked quite easy. Miss Su could not help but say, "Fifth sister-in-law, I know how to plant Chinese roses. Would this make it grow properly?" Xian nodded with a smile. Yes. They are just ordinary plants, and this method surely would work. The budding would happen very soon, within a few days. Oh yes? Miss Su was a bit suspicious but did not think that her fifth sister-in-law would lie to her. She smiled. Are you going to sell those flowers, but how? Xian blinked and smiled. Well, I will keep it a secret for now. You will know when the time comes. In fact, I might need your help too then. Miss Su understood that when Xian asked for help, she always paid, so she smiled and said, "No problem, just tell me what to do and I guarantee that you will be satisfied with my work." Xiaoxian nodded with a smile. "Thank you in advance, elder sister-in-law." When the fences were ready, the plants were all growing well, especially Chinese roses and ordinary roses, which grew very fast at this time of the year. Xiaoxian used a bit of her superpower, and no one found the growth strange either. But the volume needed was far beyond anticipation. Xiaoxian told the village that she was collecting Chinese roses and ordinary roses as well as some other flowers and would pay between 1 to 21 for one branch. The whole village was excited. What is the fifth daughter-in-law of Xiao Dakan's family doing? Flowers don't make money. Chapter 75 Unreliable. The daughter of a rich family is just too unreliable. She is just burning money because she is rich. See? I knew that the Xiao family could not do anything about her. It is such bad luck that they have a daughter-in-law like this. It is not bad luck. She is wasting her own money, and the Xiao family are taking advantage of her money as well. That is true. Anyway, I am going to the mountain for a walk. Me too. The villagers all went into the mountains suddenly. There were many wild flowers and grass everywhere in the mountains, especially ordinary roses and gardenias which were really easy to find. Those flowers, which were ignored in the past, were flourishing in front of her. Due to what happened with young Xiaoni, Xiaoxian was really favored by Miss Fang, who would not say a thing about what she wanted to do. Miss Fang was open-minded. She was spending her own money and had her own ideas about what to do. She, as the mother-in-law, should not get too worried. Nor would anyone else in the Xiao family say anything about it. But eldest uncle did not like it. He said involuntarily, "Miss Qiao, the land is open now. You can plant some peanuts, beans, taros and sweet potatoes, which may help with some income." "What are you planting flowers for? They are just good-looking and not at all practical. It is such a waste." Xiaoxian smiled and explained. "Dad, I am going to keep some bees, and the flowers are for them. They don't ruin the land." Bees? Eldest uncle was startled and found the whole thing even more unreliable. Bees are not easy to keep, just drop the idea. There are flowers everywhere in the mountains, and the bees can go anywhere they want. Why would they come here? Xiaoxian smiled. "My flowers are better and can offer more honey." Eldest uncle, he shook his head dejectedly and sighed. She was just so unreasonable. This daughter-in-law of his was so arrogant and never listened to the elderly's words. How annoying. He went to Miss Fang and asked her to persuade her. Miss Fang blamed him for being too nosy. She believed that it was not necessary to intervene in the matter. Eldest uncle got so annoyed. He just did not like Xiaoxian at all. But there was nothing he could do. Second uncle and third uncle both came over in anger. Both of them snapped at Xiaoxian for being unreliable and not fulfilling her promise. They saw that Xiao Dali and the other three were still working. Xiaoxian had forgotten about her promise of hiring them. "Why don't you let us do this easy work? You are paying outsiders, and not thinking about us." "True, brother, that is so unreasonable." Xiaoxian sneered inwardly, "Letting you work? That was like paying people in vain." Xiao Dali and those who were working for her were completely devoted to the task. They were not dragging their feet, and that was why Xiaoxian had raised their salary. If the second and the third sections of the family were to do the work, the task might not even be finished in 3 days. They were all full of tricks, and she had seen through them how they tried to cheat the first section of the family again and again. Before Xiaoxian was able to speak, Xiao Yunduan walked out of the room and said, "Second uncle, third uncle, Brother Dolly are already very familiar with what they are doing right now. We can't just fire them halfway. We can talk about this next time." Second uncle got furious. "What are you talking about? You are just making up excuses all the time." Chapter 76 Qiao Xian's confirmation. Xiao Yinduan shrugged his arms. Well, there is nothing I can do about it. Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. Brother, what do you think of this? What do you want my dad to do about it? Xiao Yinduan said coldly, we are all from the Xiao family, and brother Dolly is not outside the family either. You are trying to make us offend our family members? Eldest uncle opened his mouth and closed it. What about this, Miss Qiao? You can ask second uncle and third uncle to offer some help tomorrow too. They are elderly people of the family and you should pay them well. Qiao Xian said, oh, but I don't have any money right now. If our uncles want to offer help, they will only get paid when I have money. Normally, that basically meant that she was not going to give them any money. Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. They immediately turned down the idea. Qiao Xian spoke up again. I just don't have any money right now. She had no money and the uncles should not possibly force her to offer money, right? Xiao Yinduan was standing next to them, and as a cultivated talent, second uncle and third uncle did not dare to counter Xiao Yinduan. So, they kept making complaints to eldest uncle instead. But Qiao Xian did not care. If her father-in-law was lectured by his two brothers, it was not her fault. She was not that kind as to stop them. After all, it was her father-in-law who was willing to get blamed because of his kindness. There was no other way they could do it and get away with it if not for his willingness. Miss Fang could not stand it any longer. She came over and drove away second uncle and third uncle, who left in a fury. Eldest uncle was so annoyed. Yinduan, you are a learned man, and you should understand that we need to have a harmonious family. How could you have said something like that to our family members? Qiao Xian, she just ignored this blame, because it was not pointed at her. She was not going to make a connection. Xiao Yinduan said, family members should understand each other and know how they should love their family. Second uncle and third uncle are just confused at the moment and soon they will understand what is going on. Eldest uncle, Qiao Xian almost burst out into laughter. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that together with their wives, they went around the village and spread the rumor that Qiao Xian was not treating her family well. Everyone knew what the second and the third section of the Xiao family were like, so they all laughed away the rumor. Some who were jealous of the first section of the Xiao family added some fuel to fire, but those who sold things earlier did not say anything more after being countered by Qiao Xian a while ago. Qiao Xian had bought wood from them and paid them. Qiao Xian had even told them that she was going to offer a lot of chances for more money-making. So, they were not going to earn her money and gossip about her at the same time. Xiao Dolly and his wife as well as the cousin's family were all on Qiao Xian's side. They were so used to the work and Qiao Xian continued to hire them. It was so much less painstaking. They were not outsiders, and how could hiring them be something that was not reasonable? Qiao Xian had a regular schedule of buying wood every evening and those who wanted to sell would meet her at the determined site. When the box that was booked before was delivered to them, she put the 30 boxes up in the predetermined place. After that, she went into the mountain with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao to find the honeycomb. Flowers and bees were not only for the honey. The most important part was that she was going to get bee wax, pomegranate flowers, and rosebush, to make lipsticks from those red flower juices and essential oils. Chapter 77 One step after another she had already given advance to the carpenters to make the molds and porcelain tubes for lipsticks. She just needed the original materials to be put in. When the work at the land was finished, she was going to get the bee wax and when the tubes and molds were completed, she could start her attempts to make those things. Lipsticks were attractive to most women, even in the modern time. She firmly believed that after she managed to make the lipsticks here, she was going to get a constant stream of money for herself. The blushers sold at the market were not at all convenient, and they dried easily. Moreover, the colors did not blend well. Lipsticks in tubes were always going to be more convenient and would have better quality. Apart from lipsticks, she was going to extract oil for perfume as well. She had the superpower and she could be quite sensitive about the smell and tastes. So, the whole process should be smooth enough for her. Well, she was a rural wife and she was not going to expose the plan to outsiders. She needed to make a good plan about it. When the lipsticks business kicked off, she was going to plant mushrooms to make medical herbs. She was going to take one step after another and not rush into anything. Most importantly, she had to be in charge of everything. Xiao Xian turned down Xiao Yunduan's request to keep her company to find honeycombs in the mountains. Just study at home. It is not an easy matter to finish within a few days. Dad and Mom would blame me if you spend so much time with me. I have made so much effort just to please Mom, you know. Anyways, Qi and Tao Tao are fairly familiar with the mountains and with them around, I won't miss a thing. Xiao Yunduan could not counter her. Since he had decided to be well prepared for the examination, he was going to earn a good rank and for that, he needed to work hard. So, he should not spend so much time with her in the mountains every day. But can you just not go into the mountains? Xiao Xian smiled. Only I know what to do about the honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan said, where did you learn all of this? Xiao Xian chuckled. Maybe it is natural talent? I am interested in these and I pick up knowledge by reading. Her father's biggest function was to serve as the shield for her. She could just claim that whatever she was good at, was learned from her father. Xiao Yunduan would never be able to prove otherwise. He was not going to do anything to prove that either. But what she had not expected was that when Xiao Yunduan heard what she said, he started to imagine a scene where he saw a skinny, poor girl who was left alone in the study and read lots of strange books. Xiao Yunduan could not rip her off from the hobby which she had been interested in since childhood. He nodded hesitantly. Just come back early, and don't go too deep into the mountains. Qi knows the mountains well. You should always ask him for directions. Watch out for the ground, it is so hot nowadays and there are bugs everywhere. Xiao Xian nodded with a smile. Xiao Yunduan was still not assured. He turned to Xiao Xiaoqi and asked Xiao Xiaoqi to take care of her. Xiao Xiaoqi said with a smile. Don't worry, fifth brother, I will definitely keep fifth sister-in-law safe and not lead her to the dangerous spots. Then, the three of them went into the mountains. With the help of her superpower, Xiao Xian soon found the honeycomb. Then, she used the bee box to lead the bees to move in. Due to Xiao Xian's superpower, the bees were very willing to get close to her. They were not afraid of her, and the work was completed much more easily than she had anticipated. Chapter 78 Paid work. Apart from honeycomb, Xiao Xian also harvested some wild honey as well as beeswax. She had a large woven twine bag with a custom-made flat and light wooden barrel that was just right for honey. Honey tasted sweet and smelled good. It was a precious delicacy for farmers. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao were very happy. They already had a deep fondness for the sweetness. But Xiao Xian did not allow them to eat too much, because that would ruin their appetite and they would get tired of it easily. She was going to take the honey back, then extract the essences, and store it in a jar for a long time. It would not go bad in this manner and they could eat it for a very long time. Honey was a great thing. If it could be put on the meat while grilling and deep frying, the taste would be excellent in dishes like sweet and sour rib bones. The idea had a lot of appeal to Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao, who were drooling constantly. Xiao Xiaoqi had been to the mountains frequently, but he never dared to touch the honeycomb, nor had he ever gotten any honey. Xiao Xian was asked to teach him how to extract honey. Xiao Tao Tao was a bit worried about bees, but she was out there to give it a try. Xiao Xian taught them the tricks. She needed someone to look after her bee box, and they could be in charge of this task in the future, if they knew what to do. Anyways, she was going to pay them for it. Apart from seeking honeycombs and getting bees and honey, they spotted a few trees like wild-growing ordinary roses, gardenia, osmanthus, which they brought home on the way. It was never easy to fill up the 60-move flower land, especially with ordinary roses and pomegranates which were the original ingredients for lipstick making. Whenever they found the ordinary roses, Xian would drive away Xiaoqi and Xiao first, and use her superpower to make them grow first. After the whole day in the mountains, the three of them brought home 5 honeycombs, and got 2 barrels of honey as well as 2 bunches of ordinary roses along with some delicious mushrooms and 2 wild roosters which Xiaoqi managed to capture. They were carrying them with shoulder poles. They ran back and forth 3 times and eventually got all their harvest home. When they finally entered, Xian came to Xiao and smiled. "I am back." These words suddenly made Xiao feel assured. He almost felt a bit happy. He could not help but show a look of gentleness and said quietly, "Good that you are back. Did you run into any trouble?" "Of course not, all went well. We were really cautious." Xian exchanged a few words with him and went to sort out her harvest. Xiao smiled, seeing her retreating figure. Then he went back to his studies. The moment they went home, they hid the honey in Xiao's room. They were never going to let the second and the third sections of the family know about the honey. They were so shameless. Second uncle and third uncle, who failed to take advantage of money from her as wages, asked Xiao Miling and Xiaoji to visit the first section every day during the lunchtime, because they knew that Xiao Dolly was fed there. They were 2 young girls, and it was quite normal that they ate lunch at their uncle's home. So, they were not driven away. Also, eldest uncle got happy when they kept calling him uncle cutely. Miss Fang rolled her eyes. The 2 girls had been taught in the wrong way. They were asked to take advantage of people and were going to ruin themselves one day. They were going to suffer a lot in the future. Chapter 79 Anger vent. Sure enough, when the honey had just been hidden, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma arrived, together with Xiaoji and Xiao Miling. Miss Fang shared a rooster with them. Dalong and the other boys have worked very hard these days, and Yunduan has been devoted to studies and he needs to get supplements. You can share one. If you think it is too little, you don't get any. When they heard work, they glared at Xian, but when Miss Fang talked about Xiao Yunduan, the 2 aunts could not possibly say anything against that. They left with 1 rooster, annoyedly. She gets back things even less than earlier. Yes, just 2 wild roosters in one day, not good enough to share. Miss Fang snorted. She had an open mind and did not want to split hairs with these 2 annoying people. But after her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, their family situation had been raised compared to before, which made Miss Fang feel good. Miss Fang said to Xian, "Let me tell you, Ms. Qiao, Yang Liang asked someone to pass on the message that they want to see us tomorrow to talk about the wedding gifts." Damn Yang Liang, it serves him right. Your idea worked. Miss Fang felt quite happy to have vented her anger. Really? Xian got happy and said, "Then I will go with you tomorrow." Miss Fang snorted. "Not tomorrow. We don't have to be in a hurry." She should not let that man get what he wanted so easily. Xian smiled. "Mom, let's just go tomorrow morning. We should not split hairs with people like them. We are going to show our sincerity to the Yang family, right?" Miss Fang came to her senses. "You are right, let's go tomorrow." She and Xian had put on a show at the Yang family to display their sincerity. If they slowed down all of a sudden now, the efforts they made earlier would get wasted. Yang Liang passed on the message through a messenger, rather than come to the door personally, because he thought that they would not want to visit him out of anger. But they were not going to fall for the trick made by him. Xian told Ms. Fang about honey, and Ms. Fang was both surprised and happy. She went into Xiao's room and had a look at it along with Xian. She had a small taste of it and her eyes sparkled. It is a rare thing. You are so lucky as to get so much honey without being stung. Some villagers were bitten all over their faces when they tried to get the honey, including your 3rd brother. You are so lucky. Pharmacies in the town would want to buy things like this, and the price is not low. When Xian decided to keep the bees, she was going to extract a lot of honey. But she did not care about the honey, except when I purify the honey, I will keep it in the jar and sell it in the city. The honey that was newly harvested was full of small things, and it needed to be purified, so was beeswax. That was going to open a road for her in making a fortune. Miss Fang did not know anything about her plans, so she nodded in agreement to whatever Qiao Xian said. Her daughter-in-law was a noble-born lady, and had vast knowledge about everything. Hence, everything she said should be right. Since it was still early, Qiao Xian went to help with some work in Xiao Taotao's room. The first section of the family was filled with people, and there would be more and more in the future. It wasn't always convenient to do something. Chapter 80 Your Abilities. Qiao Xian was thinking about building a new house and was going to make a plan for it. At least, she should have a yard belonging to herself. The rooms should be enough for her to use. Only in this way, she could close the door and stop outsiders from prying. She did not worry about her own family, but the issue was the second section of the family and the third section of the family. The following day after breakfast, Qiao Xian kept Ms. Fang company on the trip to Yang Liang's home in the Yang village. After Yang Xiaoni made a fuss the other day, Ms. Tian got so annoyed that she had a huge fight with Yang Liang as well. She did not want to say anything, but waited until Yang Liang did something himself. Even if Yang Liang didn't cater to her satisfaction, she was going to get involved anyway. Yang Xiaoni came back home the following morning. Ms. Tian could not help but glare at her, sneering. You shameless bitch, now you have humiliated both of us. You can just leave our home, if you are so brave. How dare you think about marrying someone good, bah. Miss Tian did not stop nagging her, but Yang Xiaoni ignored her words. She made breakfast, and drank the porridge before going out with farming tools on her shoulders. It was much better to work outside than stay at home. What should we do about her marriage? Should we ask the Xiao family again? Yang Liang was feeling annoyed. Where else could he find someone better than the Xiao family? The Xiao family was the best choice so far. He could not get 100 liang, but 30 or 40 would be enough too. No. Miss Tian simply did not want Yang Xiaoni to have a good life. Useless person, can't you think about any other method to deal with that bitch? Why must we stick to the Xiao family? Yang Liang was annoyed too. You can go and find one if you want to. Miss Tian sneered. You pig head. Why can't you just find some rich landlord or a man who has lost their wives or something? They would offer a good price too. Yang Liang was startled and got angry with her. You want my sister to become a concubine, or the widower filler? Are you crazy? I am not crazy. Miss Tian snapped as she shouted at him. She never feared him. Instead, she got even more intimidating as she spoke. Your sister? I don't think she regards you as a brother. Let me tell you, I am sure that when she marries the Xiao family, she will not even take a look at you. You know what Ms. Fang is like, right? If she is a widower filler, she can at least understand that she needs her natal family's help in the future. Also, what is so bad about being a concubine of a rich landlord? They have food and servants, and old men know how to take care of the young. She is always going to have a good life there. What is so bad about that? Yang Liang fell into silence. He said hesitantly, You said that if she marries the Xiao family, she will disown us? But I am her brother. Miss Tian sneered. If she treated you as her brother, she would not have reported anything to those elderly people in the family, and would not have humiliated you. Yang Liang was silent again. He thought for a while and understood that his sister was not very close to him. If she distanced herself from her natal side after she got married, that would not work. He was looking forward to getting help from her in-laws' family. Chapter 81 Taken advantage of. He had realized that they did not have a close relationship, and Miss Fang was not very easy to deal with. Besides, Miss Fang had a daughter-in-law who was the daughter of the county magistrate. By that time, the Yang family might not be able to take any advantage of the marital connection. Persuaded by his wife, Yang Liang decided to marry young Xiaoni off to a landlord as the concubine. But he had a very narrow network. When he eventually found one landlord who intended to get a concubine, he proposed 20 liang as dowry and was beaten by the slave. The landlord got extremely annoyed. She was just a countryside girl and the family needed 20 liang? That was crazy. The landlord was not going to be taken advantage of. 6 or 8 liang would be the maximum amount. Furious and annoyed, Yang Liang went to a widower. That turned out to be an even worse decision. Those widowers, who would like to remarry, were all poor. They could barely afford a wedding gift of 3 or 6 liang. The poor one waved away the proposal when he heard that the wedding gift should be at 20 liang. Everyone had difficulty in making money. 20 liang for one daughter-in-law? That was not worth the while. Half a kilo of rice was only 7 won, and a wedding gift at this large amount was just beyond the possibility, even if the girl might be a fairy from heaven. Wives were married by men to spend their days with and give birth to babies. What did they need a fairy from heaven for? Yang Liang got so distressed after being turned down so many times. If they failed to find anyone else who would like to offer the wedding gift, the Xiao family would be the only choice left. Miss Tian shouted at Yang Liang for being useless, and then she sneered. That goddamned girl is a part of our family. We are her brother and sister-in-law, acting like parents for her. I can marry her to anyone I want. No one has the right to get involved. Why must our business be in charge of anyone else? It is against the ethical standards. But Miss Tian could do nothing except make some complaints at home, since third Grandma Yang had already made the announcement in public and the land officer, as well the chiefs all nodded in agreement. Despite her fierce temper, she knew pretty well that she could not make chiefs and land officers change their decision. If she dared to make any more complaints, third Grandma Yang did have the right to trap her inside the ancestral hall where she could be abused. What a nosy old woman. Yang Liang did not want to hear what Miss Tian said anymore. He decided to go to Miss Fang to pass on the message and talk about this matter. Annoyed, Miss Tian thought for a while and said, I will pass on the message. It is not proper for a guy like you to do anything about it. Yang Liang, who had been humiliated to the bottom of a valley already, was glad that Miss Tian could handle the matter instead of him. Miss Tian did not go there personally. Instead, she paid a messenger 2 times to pass on the message and stressed to him that he should treat the Xiao family badly. She was going to make sure that Miss Fang got so annoyed that she would not want to visit them. In that way, she could tell others that the Xiao family did not want to marry young Xiaoni, and in this way, she could marry young Xiaoni to anyone she wanted. She hated the goddamned sister-in-law of hers, and she was not going to allow her to live happily. However, Xiao Xian came over with Miss Fang. What she had not expected was that Xiao Xian and Miss Fang did not come to her home at all, but went to third Grandma Yang's home directly. When third Grandma Yang sent someone to fetch Yang Liang and Miss Tian, the couple was still wondering what was going on. Seeing Miss Qiao and Miss Fang, Miss Tian's face changed and she screamed. What are you doing here? Third Grandma Yang got annoyed and she sneered. I am also involved with Xiaoni's marriage. Why can't they come to my place? Since we are all here, we can have a thorough discussion. Chapter 82 Miss Tian's sneer. Third Grandma Yang even brought 2 more grandmas as witnesses. Annoyed and unconvinced, Miss Tian said, It is not proper for us to have the discussion at someone else's home, right? She is my sister-in-law. Third Grandma Yang ignored her and asked Yang Liang. Am I the senior family member of the family? Is it proper to have the discussion here at my home or not? Yang Liang dare not say anything against that. He mumbled incoherently and said nothing else. Miss Fang sneered. This is a major matter of happiness. If we have senior family members as witnesses here, it is your good fortune. Yang Liang and Miss Tian glared at everyone in fury, yet did not dare to say anything more. Third Grandma Yang smiled. I am an experienced person and I should take good care of the junior family members in case they go on a twisted path. We are all a family and are concerned about all members of the family. Miss Tian sneered and cursed inwardly. Well, since the incident was mentioned, Yang Liang was forced to agree, but he said that the wedding gifts needed to be renegotiated. 20 liang is way too little. You are a rich family and you can't be compared with other families. She is my only sister, and I need to see if you are sincere enough. Okay, I don't need 80 or 100 liang, but we need at least 40 liang. Third Grandma Yang gasped. She had not fully believed that the Yang family would want 100 or 80 liang as Miss Fang had put it earlier. She had thought that the latter was just exaggerating. But hearing what Yang Liang said, she realized that she should have believed Miss Fang at the beginning. Miss Fang sneered. I am sincere enough, so I offered 20 liang. Were you able to find anyone else who would like to offer 20 liang during this period? We are here today, because we don't necessarily need your sister. If you don't accept 20 liang, then we will drop the matter. Miss Tian added. Then we drop it. We don't care about your family. Our sister can always be married to anyone. I don't think that our sister would have a good time with your family, seeing how you are like right now. You, Qiao Xian smiled. Then you can ask Ms. Yang if she is suffering with you or enjoying living with you. As for our family, we sister-in-laws respect our mother-in-law. What our mother-in-law is like is not to be determined by you. The whole family knows what she is like. You are just making yourself a laughing stock by claiming so. Miss Tian forced a false smile. Oh well, we are not as good as you. No mother-in-law will have any courage to mistreat you. Xiao Xian said, it seems that this lady is just being tough. She doesn't seem to understand what others are talking about. I don't have anything to argue with you, you can do whatever that pleases you. It is all in your imagination. We have enough people to prove how we are. Third Grandma Yang snorted. Yang Liang, 20 liang is enough, and you have to remember the condition of 1 month's time. Just think about this. If you do anything more pestering, we can all gather to teach you a lesson. We are a family with rules. Miss Tian knows nothing, but you should. 15 years ago, a horrible woman irritated her mother-in-law to death, so her sister-in-law killed herself in the river. Even though she had many children, she was still trapped in the ancestral hall for her entire life and she became mental in the end. Hee hee. Third Grandma Yang glanced at Miss Tian and said calmly, if our family can't even keep a horrible woman at bay, then no good girls would dare to join us. Gradually, our family would have no good offspring in the next generation. Chapter 83 Accident. Miss Tian's face changed. She shivered and started to panic. Yang Liang did not counter the old woman, so the tale was real. She knew pretty well how she treated young Xiaoni. Now the bitch had decided to start a war with her, and even spent the night at Third Grandma Yang's home instead of her own house. The way she was behaving was so annoying. What if she caused a huge mess? Miss Tian did get frightened hearing what Third Grandma Yang said to her. Third Grandma Yang felt slightly better and prouder, as she managed to talk down Miss Tian. I think we can settle the arrangement here. 20 liang as the wedding gift. Yang Liang, anything you want to say? What? Okay, nothing to say. Third Grandma Yang said resolutely and settled the argument. Pick a date and exchange the engagement card. Miss Tian, who was furious and jealous, found that she was losing. So she snapped. But I don't have any dowry to offer and we can't afford to host a banquet. Any family would turn around and walk away, when they heard those words. But Miss Fang did not really care about those things, otherwise she would have died out of anger long ago because of what the third section of the family and the second section of the family did to her family. She could clearly see that Miss Tian was evil and she was doing all of this on purpose. So, in order to win the argument, she was going to say yes to the marriage at any cost. Also, her useless son insisted on marrying young Xiaoni. So Miss Fang nodded constantly. Okay. We just like Xiaoni and don't care about her dowry. Third Grandma Yang suddenly felt really jealous. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. How could her own daughter fail to have such good luck? Feeling even more furious, Ms. Tian said annoyedly, I don't have much food to give to someone else's daughter-in-law. Since the marriage is settled, you should take her away as soon as possible. That was exactly what Ms. Fang expected to hear. Okay then, after the Dragon Boat Festival in May, we will pick an auspicious date for the wedding. Ms. Tian sneered and added. You should not look down at us. You must hold one wedding on the same scale as the one you held for your fifth daughter-in-law. Ms. Tian. Third Grandma Yang sank her face. How dare you compare the village girl to the daughter of the county magistrate? What scale? If you ever cause trouble to the Yang family, we will all go down together. In other words, what she meant was that the county magistrate was not in the same category as these people, and if the county magistrate learned about the comparison, he might not be happy. The other elderly grandmas also had stern expressions on their faces, and snapped at Miss Tian. Xiao Xian sneered and threw a disdainful look at Miss Tian, as if she were going to take revenge on her without warning. Miss Tian turned slightly pale and did not dare to say anything more. When this errand was settled, Miss Qiao and Miss Fang left together. Miss Fang smiled at Xiao Xian. You have helped us a lot. Xiao Xian smiled. No worries, Mom, we are a family. You treat me so nicely and third brother has helped me a lot too. This is all I can do to repay you. Miss Fang laughed. Oh, my child, you are so adorable. It was Xiao Xian's idea to come to third Grandma Yang's home for the settlement. She even had 2 bottles of honey and 1 patch of cotton cloth to offer. Those gifts delighted third Grandma Yang greatly, and she spared no efforts to defend them in every way possible. Chapter 84. Ms. Fang's concern. That very afternoon, the matchmaker came over to exchange the engagement card. The date of May 20th was settled upon, and the whole thing was organized at a lightning speed. Xiao Xian saw the date and her lip corners could not help but twitch. 5:20, what a good date. Xiao Sanlang laughed as if he had turned mental. He went to Miss Fang and kept flattering her. Miss Fang struck hard on his head and snapped. You useless man. Now you have realized your goal. But let me tell you right now, if your daughter-in-law doesn't respect me or disobey me openly and defends her family, I will not keep her here. If you dare to defend her in this way, you and I are no longer mother and son. As for whether or not young Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law would continue to pester them after young Xiaoni was married, Miss Fang wasn't that worried at all. They were just her brother and sister-in-law. No brother or sister-in-law of any family would get involved with their married sister, unless the married sister was taking her brother's side. Miss Fang would not agree to hang out with those shameless people either. She was not going to allow them to take advantage of her family. Since they were just brother and sister-in-law, Miss Fang agreed to the marriage because young Xiaoni was a good girl. Xiao Sanlang smiled and nodded constantly. He said in a flattering tone, Don't worry, Mom, I will respect you and father along with her. She hates her brother and sister-in-law too, so she is not going to take their side. Haha. Miss Fang was amused. Seeing his mother smiling, Xiao Sanlang turned to Xiao Xian. Thank you very much, fifth sister-in-law. Both of us owe you big. You can turn to me for help if you need anything in the future. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Xiao Xian smiled. No worries, third brother, we are a family. Yes, we are a family. We will remember what you have done for us forever. Xiao Sanlang smiled and said, Oh yes, you don't have to pay me any salary. When Xiaoni is here, we will work for you together. Xiao Xian laughed. Third brother, these are 2 different things. You are getting paid anyway. Otherwise elder brother and elder sister-in-law would be very embarrassed. Xiao Sanlang was startled, wondering why. Miss Fang glared at him and explained things to make him understand what she meant. He smiled at Xiao Xian and laughed even more awkwardly. Xiao Sanlang got paid, but the money was given to Miss Fang. He was getting married next month and they needed to host a simple banquet, which might cost some money as well. Miss Fang accepted the payment. When this matter was settled, Xiao Xian, together with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, went up into the mountains and hunted honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan was not assured, so he followed them for a walk. Miss Fang was worried about Xiao Sanlang's wedding. The bride had nothing to offer, and they had to prepare for everything. They needed the matchmaker, the happy litter, and the orchestras too. Moreover, they needed new blankets for the room, and the couple needed to have new clothes too. Then, they also needed to provide small snacks for the guests too. Also, there would be at least one representative from each household of the village to attend either weddings or funerals, including children. But some close relatives, apart from the formally invited guests, would all be present too. Chapter 85 Money. There would be at least 20 tables at the wedding. The banquet might not be as luxurious as the one for Xiao Yunduan's wedding, yet one bowl of chicken and one bowl of meat would definitely have to be served. Yang Liang and his wife were annoying, but the bridegroom was her own son, and young Xiaoni was going to spend the rest of her life with him. Therefore, she could not make the wedding look too shabby, otherwise young Xiaoni might not be so happy about this, not now maybe, but most likely in the future. Miss Fang did want the wedding to be the hidden bomb in the relationship between her son and daughter-in-law. So, she decided to make it look good. But where was she going to get the money to pay for the bill? Before she went to bed at night, Miss Fang sat in bed and did the calculation with elder uncle. They would need at least 2 liang for the wedding. The problem was that the wedding gift had already cost them everything and they did not have 2 liang at all. Duan has just got married and now it is our third son's turn. This is totally beyond anticipation. Only if he doesn't hold the wedding until 2 years later. But Miss Qiao already offered us 10 liang for the wedding. Though she explained the reason to us, yet it is her kindness. We must not ask her for any more money for the wedding. We should not take money as loan from her either. Also, Miss Qiao is not going to ask us to pay her back. That would be immoral on our part. Also, let me tell you, we can't even pay for Duan's examination next year. By that time, Miss Qiao is going to pay for his fees, because it is her husband who is going to the examination. This is how our current situation is. What she meant was that they could not possibly ask Xiao Xian to loan them any more money for Xiao Sanlang's wedding this time. They could not just bully her just because she was rich. Eldest uncle also got annoyed. We can't even spare 2 liang. Miss Fang sneered. You really have no idea what is going on. Eldest uncle looked dazed, and could not utter a word. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, his 2 brothers kept borrowing money from him and he was well aware of this. What about me asking my brothers about the money tomorrow? Miss Fang sneered inwardly, but she agreed. That is good, you can try tomorrow, or we can also try to come up with some other ideas. Early next morning, elder uncle went to the 2nd section of the family and the 3rd section of the family for money. But the result was well on the predicted lines. Elder brother, we need your help all the time. Of course we don't have any spare money. We can definitely lend you some if we do have any in stock. We are family, aren't we? Brother, Lu Lang is studying right now and we are barely making ends meet. We need your help, rather than being able to help you. Why not ask Miss Qiao? She has so much dowry. 2 liang is so small an amount for her. I don't think she even considers 2 liang as a big amount. Go and ask Miss Qiao, she has wasted so much money on the lands and splurged so much. Won't she even want to offer any money for your real business? That is so rude of her. Eldest uncle felt so annoyed after speaking with his brothers. He could sense that they did have some savings, but maybe he had thought too much. As for Miss Qiao, he really could not turn to Ms. Qiao for help. Eldest uncle felt extremely distressed. Chapter 86. Xian satisfied, he asked for a loan from other villagers, but met with the same result. For villagers, 2 liang was not a small amount and it was very difficult to get. Eldest uncle was feeling very distressed. He turned to Ms. Fang. What about asking Ms. Qiao for help? Ms. Fang looked at him in silence. Then she said, that seems to be the only way to do it right now. But let me tell you, if we borrow the money, we have to return it to her. Also, Qi and Tao Tao are growing up and they are going to get married too. So, we need to prepare for that as well. They are your children, you have to take them into consideration first. From this moment on, we have no money for any other sections of the family. You can't even help your own children before you help others. Be sure your children don't blame you for that. Also, Duan needs money. He is studying. If he passes the examination and goes into the capital for further examinations, it would cost more. You can't possibly let Miss Qiao offer the money to him, right? Otherwise, how would he stand with back straight in front of his wife? Junyan is intelligent too, and in a couple of years, he will probably go to school as well. What if he makes it through? Even if he can't pass any more examinations, it would be better to be able to read than know nothing. Eldest uncle felt head aching and could not help but feel guilty and bashful. He interrupted Ms. Fang impatiently. All right, I got it. I am, of course, going to consider my own children first. It is just, anyway, let's just do this. Ms. Fang snorted and felt slightly better. As long as her husband did not interrupt her, the second and the third sections of the family would never get even a penny from her. As for the other wild animals, well, she could just ignore that for the time being. Qiao Xian loaned them the 2 liang without any hesitation. Elder uncle was gratified, yet felt a bit guilty and embarrassed inwardly. In a couple of days, the field was filled with plants and flowers that were needed. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, there were large patches of wild roses and ordinary roses, small patches of pomegranates, gardenias, sweet-scented osmanthus, jasmines, lilies, cloves, and white orchids. All the flowers were growing well, especially the wild roses and ordinary roses. They were sprouting many small buds that were yet to bloom. The fences were all up, which were higher than 2 meters. Along the iron fence, there were wild roses, and one could not see anything from outside. When the door was chained, no one was able to walk in. 20 out of 30 honeycombs were filled with bees, who kept flying in and out every day. Qiao Xian was very satisfied looking at the scene. In a couple of more days, there would be 30 boxes of bees. One box of bees could help in extracting 2 or 3 times of honey and beeswax, which would be purified into at least 500 grams of pure honey. Therefore, there would be more than 15 to 20 kilograms of honey in 1 year. That was plenty for them under the circumstances. Mostly, they did not need so much anyway. Before she became powerful enough, she was not going to reveal this way of making money, and the lipsticks would not be produced at a large scale either. In order to keep everything a secret, she even had a hat on when she went to book the modes and tubes for lipsticks. She signed a non-disclosure contract with the craftsman so that the move was not revealed. When all the boxes were done, Xiao Xian put away the beeswax carefully and decided to sell honey in the capital. Chapter 87. Anticipation. The wild bees did not produce much honey. Moreover, Xiao Xian did not work too hard on it, so in the end, she harvested more than 50 kilograms of wild honey and 9 kilograms of beeswax. Xiao Xian kept around 1.5 kilograms of honey and decided to sell the remaining 50 kilograms. 9 kg beeswax, plus the plant oil, almond oil as well as purified red-colored flower juice would make at least 2,350 lipsticks at least. How much did that mean? Xiao Xian looked as if she had already seen money coming her way. With this amount of money, she was going to buy more land and open stores. In the beginning, she would do everything in secret. She did not intend to show up as the owner. She could not let Madame Qiao learn about this. When she became powerful enough that she went beyond Madame Qiao's influence, she would establish business relationships with some big businessmen with strong backgrounds. In this way, she would have nothing to fear in the future. Most importantly, it would be great if Xiao Yunduan could make it to advanced scholar level. If he cleared it, she would be protected as well. By that time, even her bad father would not dare do a thing to her, let alone Madame Qiao. Advanced scholar was different from cultivated talent. He could replace the official position of a minor county magistrate. With some relationships and achievements, he could even be the head of a county. So, even if her father wanted to do something about him, he could not possibly win by using small tricks. He would need to report him to the government office where the head supervised the whole case. Qiao Xian believed that Madame Qiao would try and do some tricks, but her father would not. What if her father's bad deeds were revealed? It would be the end of his career. He was not stupid enough to do something detrimental to himself. In his eyes, Xiao Yunduan was his son-in-law, and when Xiao Yunduan became successful, he had to pay respect to him, otherwise his name would be ruined and Xiao Yunduan would not help him in the future. In fact, if Xiao Yunduan became successful, he would get extra help with relationships in the office, and that would make him really happy. Hence, he would not allow Madame Qiao to play any tricks. Therefore, as long as Xiao Yunduan made it to advanced scholar, it would be the starting of his flourishing career. That made Xiao Xian feel really excited. 50 kilograms of honey filled up 3 large porcelain jars. Everyone was so happy. It would earn them a lot of money. So on this day, when Xiao Yunduan was going to the school in the capital, they rented a bullock cart and everyone went there together. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, as well as Miss Fang tagged along. Miss Fang had another purpose, that of buying some things needed for Xiao Sanlang's wedding. Honey was going to be sold to the pharmacies. Many side materials used at the pharmacy needed honey. Moreover, some precious materials would be soaked in wild, authentic honey so as to be preserved well. For example, ginseng, the best fresh wild ginseng, was sliced and cut into sections, soaked in pure wild honey and sealed, so that it could be stored for 70 or 80 years without any loss of efficacy. Qiao Xian went to one of the 2 big pharmacies in the capital with her family, and the manager showed them to the backyard. He tasted the honey and was shocked. How did you get so much honey? Wild honeycombs were very difficult to find. Their clinic needed wild honey throughout the year, and in late spring and summer, they would hire specialists to seek honey in the mountains. Normally, they would at most get 100 to 150 kilograms. Sometimes they would get even less than 100 kilograms. Qiao Xian smiled. Just good luck. Manager, are you buying the honey? If not, we will sell it somewhere else. Manager smiled, as he saw the beautiful married woman in front of him. It is a long way for you to come to this place, we will take it. Chapter 88 Fifth sister-in-law. Those words might have made others feel anxious, but Xiao Xian rolled her eyes inside her head, and said straightforwardly, Manager, you don't have to force yourself into doing any business. If you don't want to buy it, just say it directly. Manager, Xiao Yunduan added, seeing her handle everything calmly and with composure. True. Manager, if you really want to buy the honey, please name a price. Xiao Xian said with a smile, looking quite indifferent, wild honey is a great thing. Even if we fail to sell it, we can still keep it for ourselves. Honey can be preserved for a long time, and it won't go bad even after years. We can eat it slowly, or give it away as a gift, it will always come into use. I hear that wild honey with water can help extend lifespan. Miss Fang's eyes widened. That is great. Qiao Xian smiled. That is really good, Mom. Manager's mouth twitched. He could not help but feel really concerned for this precious honey. They were ruining this wonderful treasure. He was a sly businessman, and after some testing, he realized that this young couple wasn't so easy to be coaxed. In that case, he decided not to bargain. Manager said with a smile, "Your honey is really pure and wonderful, but it is too mixed. So I will buy it at 71 for 500 grams, what do you think?" Miss Fang's legs collapsed, as she felt dizzy in head. She asked in a shivering tone. "How much?" Xiao Tao helped her up and her eyes were also widened. Xiaoqi was dumbfounded too. Honey was so valuable. Fifth sister-in-law was excellent. Her things earned more than his hunt. Manager smiled. 71 ms, that is a very reasonable price. Miss Fang could not say a thing. She was not trying to raise the price. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look and Xiao Yunduan nodded. "Okay, deal." After weighing, the honey measured up to almost 50 kilograms apart from the porcelain jar. Manager gave them 7 liang, and Xiao Xian generously gave away the 3 porcelain jars to the manager, who smiled and thanked the young lady. He even told her to bring it again, if they have any more in the future. When they left the clinic, Miss Fang was still feeling dazed. 7 liang, they had just earned 7 liang at one go. Miss Fang stared at Xiao Xian transfixed and mumbled inside her heart. She is our lucky star, indeed a lucky star. After her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, they were living a better life than before. They had not only dealt with the 2nd and the 3rd section of the family, but also accomplished 3rd son's marriage. They were having a good time. They even had a spring at home. Her 5th daughter-in-law was just too fortunate. "Mom, I will give 5 liang to you, and the remaining will be divided between me, Qi and Tao. I will take 5 liang and you both will get 1 liang each respectively, does that sound okay?" Xiao Xian was not going to take advantage of them. It was true that she had done most in getting the honey, and it was reasonable that she should get a little more from the portion that was distributed after giving the family share. There would be a lot of occasions when they would make money. If they did not set a rule for profit sharing, conflicts would definitely arise in the future. By that time, they might even lose their friendly relationship. Miss Fang was still feeling blank inside her head when she took over the money. Neither Qi nor Tao was satisfied by how the amount was divided. Chapter 89. With 5th sister-in-law. The brother and sister nodded and shook their heads dazedly. 5th sister-in-law, that is too much. We did nothing much, please just give half of that amount. Yes, yes. Miss Fang also brought herself back and said with a smile, "Miss Qiao, we got this because of you, they can just take 1 liang in total." In the past, before her daughter-in-law was married to their family, no one had sold honey for so much money. They managed to earn this much because of what her 5th daughter-in-law did for them. Now they would be able to host a good wedding for her 3rd son. Miss Fang felt really relieved when she received so much money suddenly. Qiao Xian did not change her mind. Qi and Tao thanked her and looked at their 5th sister-in-law in admiration. They were definitely going to hang out with 5th sister-in-law more in the future. Qiao Xian added, "Mom, put away the money. We may use it at some point in time, and keep it a secret." Miss Fang realized what she meant. She looked at her 2 sons and her daughter. "True, you must keep these earnings a secret and not reveal it to anyone else, not even to your father." Money was always going to be useful, and she needed to save some. Qi and Tao nodded in agreement. So did Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan was heading to the school, whilst Xiao Xian and Miss Qiao were going to do some more shopping, so they waved goodbye at an intersection. Xiao Yunduan whispered to Xiao Xian, "If you ever run into someone from the Qiao family, just avoid them." If Madame Qiao knew that Xiao Xian was in town, she was not going to let go of the opportunity to humiliate her. Xiao Xian felt her heart turn warm as she smiled. "I will. And I will take care of Mom and our brother and sister." Xiao Yunduan smiled. "Thanks." Miss Fang pretended not to notice that her son and daughter-in-law were whispering with each other. She smiled brightly. The two of them are so sweet together. Xian had intended to stay away from the Qiao family, so after she left Xiaoyuan, she grabbed a towel to cover herself. Miss Fang was very satisfied seeing how her daughter-in-law behaved. She thought that Xian had covered herself up because she did not want anyone else to stare at her beautiful face. Miss Fang told Xian that she was not going to return the 2 liang to her. She said, "We must let your father-in-law know that we owe you 2 liang. If you need money at any point, come to me in private." Xian had never intended to ask Miss Fang to return the 2 liang, but if there was a proposal like this, she would not turn it down. She smiled and nodded in an understanding way. That made Miss Fang feel even more gratified. Miss Su would not have said yes to such a proposal ever. Soon, they were done shopping. Xian weighed 1 kilogram of snacks, some dried chilies, star anise, fennel and other seasonings, before heading ahead to buy the meat. Xian bought a large piece of lamb chops. She wanted to go back and make pan-fried lamb chops. After adding some honey on top of it, the dish would smell delicious. She bought 1 more hoof and a large piece of pork belly. The hoof could be stewed with turnips, and half of it would be fried to make a dish with a sweet and sour flavor. The other half would be served with chopped chives, and the taste would be really beyond anticipation. The pork belly would be added with soy sauce, honey, and then fried to make barbecue pork. May was around the corner, and the day was getting warmer. The meat could not be preserved for long. If it was made into barbecue pork, it could be kept for 2 more days. Xiaoqi and Xiao offered to pay for the meat. They could not possibly ask Xian to pay for everything. "I was thinking about buying some meat and having 5th sister-in-law cook it for us. We can't let you pay for it and cook at the same time." Chapter 90 Background. Yes, we have money now. The 4 of them laughed. It cost just 10 won for 500 grams, and they only paid 200 won for so much meat. Xian decided not to argue with them anymore, so she smiled. "Then, I can treat you to a bowl of noodles each, let's go." A bowl of noodles consisted of green onions, pickled vegetables, beans, and a spoonful of bone soup added on top. It only cost 3 won. 1 egg could be sold at 1 won, and villagers were not really happy to spend money upon buying 1 bowl of noodles, normally. But they felt that they had made a fortune today, so they all agreed and went to eat noodles together. When they were done eating, they went to fetch the bullock cart, and guarded their stuff for a while, whilst Xian went to buy some garments and needles at the garment store. The garments would be used to make the sole and the top of the shoes. Summer was coming soon, and there were many kinds of beautiful garments in the store. Xian picked some and decided to make 3 sets for herself and Xiaoyuan, 2 for her in-laws, and 1 each for the others, respectively. She even counted young Xiaoni in. She also needed some underwear for the hot days. So, she bought some thin white cotton garment and decided to make 2 sets for herself and Xiaoyuan as well as Xiao. Girls from the countryside would normally make garments for themselves, so they knew about each other's sizes. Xian asked Xiao to tell her the sizes, and gave the order to the garment store, telling them that she would fetch the clothes in a couple of days. Xiao was really worried about splurging so much money. But Xian smiled and whispered, "We should not waste our time upon making clothes. We have to earn money during that time instead." Xiao fell silent. The manager of the store saw how generous Xian was, and everyone laughed. They treated them nicely, and decided to give the cotton garments to them for free and gave some other beautiful garments as gifts too. That made Xiao really happy. She was definitely going to make a beautiful pair of new shoes for her beloved 5th sister-in-law. As they left the garment store, they went around and saw a person selling small geese. There were 9 of them, bigger than a fist. They had long necks, and their eyes looked like black beans, lovely and cute. Xian bought all of them. There were many chickens at home, but no ducks. Xian had asked her mother-in-law about the reason, and her mother-in-law said that it was because ducks ate too much. Keeping them was not worth the while. Xian dropped the idea of keeping ducks. They could wait until they had more money in the future. But geese were different. They only fed on grass and little grains. The family could stew the geese and eat geese eggs as well. Miss Fang saw the geese and said nothing, since she knew that they only fed on grass. She was glad too. Xiao Yunduan returned at 4 in the afternoon, and they all went back to the village together. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did not show up this time, unexpectedly. Xiao Taotao could not help but mumble out of curiosity. Miss Fang sneered. They knew that we were going into the village to buy things for your brother's wedding, and they did not want to be here in case we would ask them for money. They groaned so terribly about their poor situation, but that worked only on her husband, not her. She knew them pretty well. They were afraid of being blamed by her. Xian laughed. You have seen them through, Mom. Miss Fang was proud and replied with a smirk. I have. You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.